The Vols better find their thrill on Chapel Thrill. Tony Vols has chimed in on this Tennessee baseball team and where they are. We'll get to those comments. Gotta love me some Tony Vols. And Watson Brown. Next hour, we visit with Watson Brown in our second hour on what's going on with this whole 24-team scuttlebutt, where it's all going, how it's moving, how quickly it's moving to where it's moving, and where and how it's moving. Got it? Good. Because that's our show today. And we've got a lot to talk about, and we're pretty excited. And Brian Hartman's here, and Cinco's here. And do you guys have, with all due respect to Bobby Knight, do you guys have your game faces on today? Who's got their game face on today? Cinco, do you have your game face on today?
Tony, I wish I had a game face because it'd be a lot better than the one I got on right now.
Well,
no, but I'm looking for one.
Well, the great Kendall Rogers is finna join us. Gentleman from his site had an incredible thing, which is that just because you're hosting this round in recent years doesn't mean you're going through. And Tony Vitello was talking about that from the Giants dugout. I wonder what Giant fans think when they see Tony sitting there talking about college baseball. Tony knows he belongs in college baseball. He knows that. And Kendall Rogers, look, D1 baseball, they're the anatomical clock for the sport of college baseball. Kendall, welcome in. Appreciate you joining us. This is getting to become a regular thing, man. Do I need to get you on the payroll like we have Berkey on the payroll, Kendall? Oh, I'm sorry. I got you turned down. My bad. I need to get you on the payroll, Kendall.
I know we need to. I just need to take Berkey's money. Just tell Berkey it's part of the redistribution of wealth.
Hey, listen.
Berkey, hey, I will say this.
Yeah.
I heard you a second ago.
Yeah.
I do wonder, like Giants fans, Tony talking about college baseball, like when he took the job there,
right?
The fact that he kept bringing up Tennessee, like it seems odd to me, right? Like he doesn't seem like a guy that loves being in pro baseball.
Unless you know Tony, and you and I both know, Kendall, how miserable is he going to be in August when he looks up and realizes that he's coaching a team that's tracking for like 100 losses?
Yeah, they're going to be like 32 games behind the Dodgers.
Yes. I mean, does that strike
meanwhile,
you?
Meanwhile, the guy had a new ballpark.
Exactly.
Like, literally, he could have run for governor in Tennessee.
Exactly. I mean, he didn't get along with his AD, and his AD didn't make him feel warm and fuzzy. I mean, okay, there are ways around that. He could have gone to his president of the university and said, look, I don't want to deal with this athletic director. And they would have done what Arizona did for the basketball coach here and said, okay, you don't have to deal with the athletic director. Just come deal with me. That's how this is done. But anyway, Kendall.
That's kind of the way LSU operated with Brian Kelly this past year.
There you go.
Like, he kind of went around, the AD at the time. So, yeah. But anyways, it's always been interesting to me that he constantly brings up college baseball. But I would be curious to see what he thinks about Tennessee's draw this weekend, which, by the way, should be a really fun regional with East Carolina and North Carolina and VCU, who has the youngest coach in college baseball, guys. Sean Thompson, the VCU head coach, is 31 years old.
And how old's the kid at Georgia Tech, Kendall? He's a rather young-looking fellow himself.
Yeah, Ramsey's around 40. I want to say he played at Florida State when I was in school at Texas A&M.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah, so around 40. We're still kind of young chickens. We're not 34 like you, but you know.
Kendall Rogers breaking it down scientifically, moving right to left across your device. So the fact of the matter is that hosting, if you host now, in recent years, one of your guys had a great tweet today. You basically have a 2/3 shot of getting out, but it's not guaranteed. Yep. And a lot of crazy things happen in these regionals. Yes.
100%. It's just one of those things where, if you can get one host team or something to, lose a game and kind of get stressed and push to the max, anything can kind of happen. I think back to, granted it was a super regional, but I kind of think back to, unfortunately when the Vols lost to Notre Dame that year, that team is so dominant that, once it looked like, things were on the ropes a little bit, they kind of panicked, so I think the big key for non-number one seeds this week is get the home team on the ropes a little bit. Same goes for Tennessee with North Carolina, and kind of see where the chips fall.
Kendall Rogers joining off Jump Street here. You guys were surprised projection-wise that Tennessee ended up over in North Carolina. I mean, you got to go where you got to go, and you got to play where you got to play.
Yeah.
But on the other side of the bracket, I mean, the Vols have this thing where if they get through, it's probably going to be A&M. Again, you can't assume anything in the sport of baseball, but that's probably what they're looking at. That's easily, for a 2 seed, that's easily the toughest draw in the book, right?
Yeah, it has to be. I mean, even with A&M's pitching woes, I mean, having, if you beat North Carolina, having to go to their place, we all know how Bluebell Park kind of plays in June.
Mm-hmm.
Having to go to their place and beat them would be really difficult. So, yeah, I mean, it's a tough draw, but, hey, here's the thing. There is no such thing as an easy pathway to Omaha. I can't tell you how many times that I've, seen a team that you perceive to have a really easy draw.
Yep.
And they get knocked out. I think back to 2017 when Davidson, the number 4 seed, knocked out North Carolina. We all thought that was a super easy regional. And then all of a sudden, the 4 seed just kind of comes out of nowhere and knocks off the Tar Heels. So you just never know.
Yeah, you mentioned Carolina. They've got a sort of a checkered, the more I look into it, they've got a little bit of a checkered past in their building in this deal. It's almost like if you're Tennessee and you throw Coons out there against them, say you get through I'm not making any assumptions of this Tennessee team because literally their bullpen is one gas can after another. So any win's a good win at this point. I mean, it just is. How they've gotten this far and got to a dead level 500 record with that bullpen is remarkable. But you win Friday, you put a little pressure on North Carolina early in that game. Their fans, in a lot of ways, expect weird things to happen to their team in that building. They haven't had a great home field. I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but they've had their problems.
No, I see what you mean. I mean, even LSU a couple of years ago, back in 24. I mean, that was not a very good LSU team, and they kind of stressed that North Carolina to the max. I'll give Carolina credit for eventually winning that regional, but it was not pretty. They have not had very many regionals where I feel like, they just dominate the opposing team throughout the weekend. So I think when you look at those guys this year, I think the biggest challenge with North Carolina, you just talked about, Tennessee's bullpen woes. The one thing about Carolina is they will pitch. I mean, if you look at the front end of the rotation, with Jason DeCaro, Folger Boaz, guys like that, you look at their bullpen, Walker McDuffie, one of the better arms in college baseball, Caden Glauber, certainly a really talented young arm. They've got weapons in the bullpen. They can extend quite a bit. They don't panic if their starter, gets roughed up. They can go to the bullpen and they don't skip a beat. So I do think, the big key against those guys is hopping on them, make them go to the bullpen a little earlier than expected, and make them play catch up.
We've got your boy Mike Monaco coming up, who's going to be on the call.
Oh man,
this week he calls
that
you.
He calls you
Big Tex.
Setting the stage for Coach Monaco.
Yeah, he calls you Big Tex. So he said, "Shout out Big Tex."
Yeah, that guy is something else. I do not watch ice hockey at all.
He's the best.
But
man.
The other day, ice hockey's on. I think he's doing like a Carolina Hurricanes game.
That's right.
And I sat there and watched hockey for an hour just because Coach Monaco is doing it. That guy is a pro's pro.
He is. I call him young Bob Costas.
He's really good, man. And
literally so gifted. He's
phenomenal.
So gifted. And here's the thing about it. He's so gifted. He loves college baseball. He's so knowledgeable about it.
He's one of us.
Yeah, he takes the time to learn, and he's a Notre Dame guy. We
won't hold that against him too much.
He's pretty comical. You look around. What's going to be wild this weekend? What's speaking to Kendall? What's a volatile region? Who's somebody needs to be an upset alert?
I'll tell you what, if you're not watching the Knoxville regional, or excuse me, the Chapel Hill regional. Sorry, I'm so used to saying Knoxville regional. The Chapel Hill regional. Keep an eye on Lincoln. Nebraska hosting under Will Bolt for the first time.
Yep.
Man, that Hawks field is going to be rowdy this weekend. And they get Ole Miss as a 2 seed, who I think is really good when you look at that weekend rotation. Taylor Rabe has been awesome here over the last few weeks. Obviously the Hunter Elliott, was on the national championship team. He's still there. And of course, Cade Townsend in the rotation. And then you look at Arizona State with Landon Harrison, who's one of the, will be one of the finalists for National Player of the Year, just a big time power hitter. ASU has Cole Carlone back in their weekend rotation is certainly a premier arm. So I think that is a region where any of the top 3 seeds could win that thing. And I would say the other one that's kind of top of mind for me is Hattiesburg. Little Rock last year, if you remember, beat LSU in one game in Baton Rouge. They were unable to win the regional.
Right.
So they did beat LSU once. They are the 4 seed there. And so I think that's going to be a very challenging regional for the host Golden Eagles.
Zero fear, essentially, from Little Rock.
Yeah, no, they don't care, man. They're there to take your lunch money.
We had a young man call us the other day who was listening to the show and driving over to North Carolina, and he had just finished up his college career, and he's getting ready he wants to go into coaching, and he was driving because he's going to be coaching in one of the Carolina Wooden Bat Summer Leagues, but he was saying what you were saying, which is mid-major baseball. You could see some of these mid-major teams make a mark in this tournament. We talked on the draw day with them.
Yeah.
You believe it?
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is in modern college baseball with the roster limits, NIL, transfer portal, everybody has an arm or two. Back in the day, it was one of those things where maybe a team had an arm and that was it. Now teams, I think, have 2 or 3 arms that they can kind of stack up. Now, you're going to need to get Herculean starts from those guys to be able to win the regional, but to upset somebody, you just need 1 or 2 guys. And I think most teams in college baseball have that. There's a kind of looking around the country right now, VCU's a tough 4 seed. I think Lamar down at Texas A&M. I mean, I don't think Lamar can win that regional, but, Chris Olivier, their Friday guy, go look at his metrics and go look at his numbers. They're really good Friday starters. So I just think when you look around the country, do not be surprised if you see 2 or 3, maybe even 4 or 4 seeds knock off a 1 seed. Now that I say that, the 1 seed won't lose, but keep an eye on it.
Well, here's the thing. As Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball, joins, and by the way, their site, if you like the sport of college baseball, you need to subscribe and get involved with them. It's well worth it. It's a great way to follow the game of baseball, college ball on a really granular level. And college baseball is just going to get more and more interesting because Major League Baseball is now turning to college baseball, which 20 years ago, if you'd have said this, people thought you were joking. But they're going to let college baseball develop their ball players for them. I mean, just look at what they're getting. They're getting ready to shrink the draft some more. And college baseball is going to have that many more great high-end type players going forward. And then guys are going to develop in its ranks. And the sport, as we've seen, is such a volatile mix of like old school wrestling, especially in the Southeastern Conference. And then it's played by wonderful athletes, high velo pitchers. Hey, Kendall, I just saw something. East Carolina is not going to start their ace against the Vols. They're kind of thinking what Tennessee's thinking, which is, hey, if we can get out of game 1 here, pitching 2. Does that surprise you?
That does surprise me. Well, the only thing is, Norby started twice last weekend in the conference tournament. So I kind of wonder if because of that, they just want to give him an extra day of rest. I mean, he had a pretty heavy workload last weekend in that conference tournament. So they just probably want to give him an extra day. But, then not having Sean Jenkins as, one of their top pitchers, that's where I think you really are going to see that kind of come into play this weekend. He was an elite arm. He's out for the year. But, they have some nice pieces. I mean, you look at, offensively, Braden Burris is a really nice player. Davin Whitaker has had a nice year for them. So East Carolina, they're going to play a very hard-nosed, kind of edgy style of baseball. And I think, Tennessee will have to be ready to answer the bell on that one.
Tell me about it. When you say, because we can't get anybody on from over there. When you say edgy style of baseball, unpack that for me.
Yeah, they're just one of those teams that, they'll lay down a bunt and kind of a, non-bunt situation. they'll try to steal bases. They'll be a little edgy. You throw inside on them. They're not afraid to pop off a little bit. So it's just I would call it kind of a almost like a Coastal Carolina style a little bit in the sense that they're going to come right at you. So that's going to be an interesting matchup, to say the least.
Godwin's always had very good pitching, right? Down through the years.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, there's been some years they haven't, but I mean, I tell you what, East Carolina seems to always have a bona fide ace. I mean, you think back to Jeff Hoffman when he was there, and certainly some of the other key arms they've had in the past as well.
I love this tournament, man. I'm so excited. Is this for you? Because you guys work really hard at it, right?
Yeah.
This time of the year, is it so busy for you guys at D1 that you can't get to enjoy it? Or is this like a fruits of your labor time for you guys in your world?
Yeah, you know what? It's kind of funny you say that because I kind of view it as I kind of view it as fun. I think conference tournament week when we're doing projections every morning and things like that, I feel like that I wouldn't call it stressful. Trust me, nothing I'm doing writing about college baseball is stressful. But if there's one thing that would be stressful, would be being up till 2 a.m. and then first thing at 8 a.m. we're doing projections where there are coaches around the country who, like, if their team isn't in our projections, they feel like they can't get in. And so we put a lot of pride into actually going methodically through those teams and making the field. Now that that's all over with,
right,
it's all fun and games now. I mean, this is kind of what we all, we kind of almost like a team. This is like what we led everything up to. So I enjoy this weekend, and honestly, I hate to stroke Berkey's ego at all, but when I'm not at a game, I enjoy watching Squeeze play.
It's
Berkey
and it's the best.
Mike Rooney did such an awesome job.
Yep.
Coach Schick, Matt Schick does a great job, and so college baseball is kind of. We talk about college baseball coming so far with MLB.
Yep.
I look at the different things that we have this weekend in terms of programming, and like it's a baseball fan's dream.
What I love about that Squeeze play thing, and I'm gonna shout out Berkey here too. Look, that's available.
I don't know. This is we're
well, I know. I'm gonna rip him. I'm gonna rip. He's such a loser, right? This is Berkey the other day. So he does his thing for several hours over there at ESPN, whatever they did on draw day, and then he texts me that night and he goes, "So you're negative on the Vols now. You're negative on the draw. You're negative on. I see you've had another face turn." I'm like, hey, Chris, can somebody give their opinion? Is it all right, Berkey, if somebody's not all sunshine and roses?
Berkey would never talk too much.
Oh, no. Not Berkey. Berkey told me one time we were talking, he goes, my mom's Italian. I'm half Italian. I said, that's the least surprising thing you've ever told me.
That is, I actually didn't know that. And that's the least surprising. I should have just assumed that. And I will tell you this, next time you have him on, tell him that you heard a rumor that he ran a 14-minute mile. Okay. He'll take that personally.
Okay. I'll be sure and work that into our repertoire. He comes, those last 3 or 4 appearances with me have been me on total defense and him just coming in here airing all his grievances. But here's a thing for you, right? So you guys are doing those projections, and when you do them, like you're saying, and again, I say that you guys are the observatory clock for the college baseball world, but you're right, that does come with pressure. And I know you had Tennessee like in Kansas or whatever. You're not going to get everything right when there's this many variables in the way they see these teams. You're just not. What was, looking back at that whole thing, what was the biggest surprise for you? And did anybody in your mind get jobbed that they're not in the field today?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I thought Michael Offer and the committee did a really good job. The only team that you could argue would have a gripe would be Mercer with an RPI of 28 getting left out of the field. But I mean, if you go look at Mercer's strength of schedule out of conference, it was 214. If you go look at the teams at the mid-major ranks who did get in, you look at Texas State, you look at Troy. I want to say Troy is the number 2 or number 3 non-conference strength of schedule. Texas State, I think, was 20 overall. That was the common denominator. If you're a mid-major, you have got to play good teams in non-conference. I know Mercer said, well, nobody would play us. I mean, there are plenty of mid-majors around there that were able to find teams to play. So lesson is, if you're a mid-major, you better play people.
Well, yeah. And then the other thing that's kind of hard for me to wrap my brain around in that sport is the way at the end of the year these teams will buy out of things to finagle their RPIs or finagle their numbers. Do they?
Oh yeah.
Do they stop that at some point, Kendall? Because that seems kind of third worldish to me that goes on.
Probably not, considering Oregon ended up with a 11 seed whenever they canceled 2 games. So they came out with this letter saying, "Oh, we're going to put it into this."
Right.
And then they gave Oregon an 11 seed after Oregon canceled 2 games. So yeah,
and Kentucky snuck in.
One of those things, like I'll believe it when I see it.
Well, Kentucky snuck in doing it. So you're just incentivizing these programs to do it, basically, is what you're saying.
Oh, 100%, without a doubt.
Kendall, if you could be at one region, like you look at a 4-team grouping and you say, "Man, I would like to be there just to see that," what would be your pick hit this weekend if you could be at one region?
Yeah, probably Lincoln. I'm going to go to College Station just because it's literally,
a minute
45 minutes, an hour from my house. So I can just drive back and forth.
Yeah.
But Lincoln would be the one for me. I just think the star power, Landon Harrison, Ole Miss, the intrigue there, and of course Nebraska hosting again, and just the fanfare around that is going to be really cool.
Nebraska hasn't been back to Omaha, I don't think, since Van Horn was there, right?
Mike Anderson took them one year.
Mike Anderson.
You know what? I'm 42 now. I'm getting old, so I don't remember the exact year. But Mike Anderson did take them to Omaha one year.
All right. I don't want to take any credit away from anybody. Hey, on the way out, if folks want to follow along or join along, it's always good to spend a few minutes with you, and or in Berkey's case, while he's running a mile, maybe he could have listened to this entire segment next time he goes out and runs a mile.
I know I tell you what, in Omaha every morning I'll get up at 7:30, 8 a.m. and go get a coffee downstairs at the Hilton, and that dude's coming back in for a run. So I'm just trying to be more like him. But I'll tell you what, D1Baseball.com, we have a bracket challenge up right now.
Okay.
You can go create a group, just kind of like the NCAA tournament challenge in basketball. You can go create a group, go play with your friends. I want to say we have like $5,000 worth of prizes for people.
Let's go.
It's a lot of different stuff from our different partners. So go play the game, and let's see how your bracket looks.
Chris Birch medium shirt over here, because there is a character named Chris Birch medium shirt over here on YouTube, on our YouTube, says, if Landon Mack pitches, I'll be shocked if Tennessee loses before Omaha. That's Berkey's alter ego there online. So there you go.
Yeah, that's got to be his burner account. I know the Vols are. Hey, I know the Vols are in College Station next week, and I have a feeling Berkey will find his way to that super.
Hey, have a great one, man. Good talking to you.
You got it, brother. Good talking to you guys.
Yeah, thanks. Kendall Rogers, one more time. Look, he could say, "Hey, I had Tennessee projected here, and they got it wrong," and he's like, "No, actually, they got it right," and it's cool. And Sean Sinclair, I would much rather be at Kansas. You would much rather be at Kansas. We would all much rather be at Kansas. Ice cream, we all scream. We all scream for ice cream. But at the end of the day, Sean, I'm kind of proud these guys have gotten in here when you look at who's not there. And you look at how topsy-turvy and crazy this thing is. And you think about Tony Vitello yesterday sitting in a dugout, opining on Tennessee baseball because he wasn't here to shepherd this team to where they are. I'm pretty proud of what they've been able to do here, Sean, especially the late season recovery. They showed some chutzpah here.
Totally agree. They were thrown a curveball. The whole program was. I like what you said earlier. This was a shotgun wedding. I believe the guy that was hired should have been hired. But his staff was, he brought in Geralman and a couple of other guys, but he had to get things going from the jump. And that was a tough spot. It's a young team. I'm not trying to carry water for them. And they, if we're honest, they were playing some pretty bad baseball midway through the season. And it looked like we were going to all have angst when selection came up. Boy, we missed Tony. Why'd he take Anderson and everything? But these guys fought through. They won some series.
Yeah.
They played the tougher teams in the league the best. They're coming around. On the other side, I don't worry about the seeding because I truly believe they earned what they got. They didn't play great baseball. There are major holes in this team, even though there are some major improvements on the team. So a 2 seed where you've got to earn your way out, I think, is good. And also, you take a look at, like you said, LSU. It looks like they're on a yo-yo. Yep. They will say, "Well, next year we're in a national championship." I don't know that. And in Vanderbilt, a perennial favorite, is not in there. So Josh Elander can say, "Hey, our streak continues. Recruiting keeps going well, and this train just keeps on chugging." And so, totally agree with you. And a great call on the shotgun wedding, because that's exactly what it was. I hadn't thought of that, but you were right.
Yeah, I mean, look, what's he going to do? You're going to go. He had a hire to make, and really, I'm talking about Reynolds. Now, it'd be really interesting to see. People around the program think Reynolds is going to be gone, but nobody really knows. It's kind of like asking somebody who the starting quarterback's going to be. You talk to most people inside Tennessee's program, they do not think George McIntyre is starting. But that decision at the end of the day is going to come down to one individual, Butch Jones. And Brian, who's that one individual that's going to decide whether or not George McIntyre starts?
That's usually the head coach.
You got it. And that's the same guy in the spot of UT baseball. It's going to decide whether or not this Reynolds guy comes back next year. I would look at him and say, "Hey, Reynolds, that's a wrap. Reynolds wrap for you, brah. That's Reynolds wrap for you." Because I can't look at one pitcher, Sean, and go, "Man, that guy got better this year under this cat's tutelage." No offense to him. Now, it might have been, who knows? It might have been that, he was dealt a group of lemons, But I'd look at the guy.
I'm going to push back just a little bit. I think that I agree with you wholeheartedly, but let's also acknowledge that Tegan Coons is pitching the best he's pitched here right now.
Yes.
And if we're going to rip a coach for stuff that may or may not be his fault, let's give a little bit of credit. Tegan Coons is now projected, well within the first round.
Yeah.
And so
that's 1 of 14.
But I agree with you. I mean, I can't even tell you how many 4-letter words or fake bricks I've thrown at the radio or TV with this pitching staff.
And
that damn hoodie has taken years off my life, to be quite frank with you. That's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. So no, believe me, I'm the last person to carry water for Reynolds. And I think we should reevaluate that whole thing. But I at least want to be a little bit fair.
When the Reynolds guy walks out there in that hoodie, he looks like he's a grown up, like they're having a reenactment of a Christmas story, like one of Ralphie's friends. Like, what are we doing? Anyway, so the tournament's upon us. Mike Monaco knows from whence he speaks. First of all, Monaco and myself were texting about this. The pressure of playing at home is such an interesting thing now in sports. And it is a real thing in baseball. I am convinced, Sean, that our super team was got by the pressure of being at home on that Sunday. Obviously, the getting off to the uneven start and letting North Carolina, or Notre Dame rather, get a toe in the bottom rung where they got on the ladder that night on Friday didn't help. But I'm convinced that you see more and more of these teams, and the number is about 60% of the 1 seeds in this particular round get through. That number should be higher. That's one thing that we were just talking about with Kendall Rogers. That number should be higher. But the number's not higher. And so the question becomes why? And I'm going to ask Monaco that. Because I'll tell you something. In the NHL, the Montreal Canadiens, and you don't care about hockey, but I'm just sharing it with you. They play in a place where they have a very good young team. There's so much pressure on them to perform. They're twice as good away from home than they are in their building. It is not an advantage for them to play in their building. The Atlanta Braves, down through the years, you're a Brave fan, you know this. It is not an advantage to play in their building in the postseason. The Phillies, the last couple of years, who I've cited on here, It was an advantage. Now it's not. Because psychologically, once it gets to the point where with your fans in the back of their minds that they're expecting that thing to happen, and when that one thing happens, see, if Tennessee can get by VCU, which I don't know that, or ECU rather, I'm going to mix up my CUs about 5 times between now and Friday. Just watch. But if Tennessee can get back and get by ECU Friday and put a little pressure on that Carolina team, get an early lead, that could get real for them. It really could get real for them. But we'll come back. I want to hear from you at 865 200 5402. Vol Girl 1, Cinco, is pushing back on you. She said Tegan Coons is a product of Frank Anderson developmentally, not Josh Reynolds.
Well, I appreciate her input, but that's not what you asked. That's not what you said. So
you're exactly right.
Want. Your question was.
You're exactly right, Sean.
No, you said your question, your statement was
nobody's developed under him.
There is no pitching is developing, and no one's playing better than when they started with Josh Reynolds. So I stand, with all due respect to her, I stand by what I said. He's pitching the best he could. Both things could be true. He could be a product of Frank Anderson, and he could be pitching better. I was just answering your question.
Taylor Vol of This Week in Tennessee Baseball says Coons was always projected as a future first rounder. Come on, Sean. Or he calls you Dr. Sinclair. But to that,
again,
Cinco's going to repeat.
Get the you know what out of your ear, because that's not what the question was.
Let's go. Twibbing. We're twibbing on a Wednesday. Okay, so on the other side, we're going to visit with a guy who I call young Bob Costas. No pressure on him in his career, but he's a great dude. And he's going to give us some time here. And by the way, James Daniel asks the following. At some point in this supposedly great college sport of baseball, are we going to produce hitters for the big leagues? Outside of Judge, none of the everyday stars are college baseball products. James, is that so? Hey, James, you're a learned guy. Why don't you look up and see where Kyle Schwarber, see if he went to high school, or see if he went to Indiana, where he led them deep into a postseason run, Bry. Kyle Schwarber at Indiana. The Schwarbomb was born at Indiana. It had a brief stop in Knoxville, and he was so gifted and talented. He was talented and gifted, James, something you're not. But he was so that as an injured player went out there during Chicago's postseason run as a rookie, went out there injured and contributed on their world championship team. What is this guy talking about, Brian? That there are no hitters that have been developed. What is he talking about, Bri? Taking a dump on the sport. And then he turns around and he says, who does Tony hate most? Caldwell, Reynolds, or Danny White? I don't hate anybody, James. Hate is a strong word. I don't hate Danny White. I mean, what are you talking about? Kim Caldwell? I haven't thought about or said Kim Caldwell's name in 3 months on here. What are you kidding me? I was telling you what I hear internally, which is that people don't think this guy's going to be back next year. But it's a call for the head coach. And my opinion is, when I watch him, I don't like how they don't attack people. That's this guy's style. Every pitching coach has their own style, but you need to look up Kyle Schwarber in the meantime during our timeout. And you need to come correct on college baseball, because you would realize this Caglione guy's a bright young player, who was born and raised in the sport, you would realize they're all over Major League Baseball. But you're too busy hating on the sport. You're too busy hating on the sport to realize it. Jacob Dorman, Danny White saying we need to expand the playoffs is getting ripped on Twitter by fan bases. Hey, you know what? I agree with Danny White on that deal. 24 teams, let them in. Let's play the tournament at the end of the year. It is what it is. You've already turned it into a playoff sport. 1AA has 24 teams, but it's totally different. And the reason it's totally different at the 1AA level is the 12 to 24 teams, Brian Hartman will tell you this, are chum in the water for the big boys. But there's not that big a disparity in major college football. And I predict, like I told Plaster on the Plaster Show yesterday, I predict there will be teams that will be sitting out players at the end of the year that already know they're in the tournament that'll sit a body or two like they do in the NFL because they already know they're in the playoffs. So 865-200. James Daniel, Caglione. All right, Caglione's just in my, he's careering on 193. Listen, dude, for you to say Aaron Judge is the only player when a guy that's about to hit 60 home runs this year, I mean, you embarrassed yourself, James. Just say, Tony, I embarrassed myself. I embarrassed myself. Just say that. You can say that. It's cool, man. Because Chris Burke is not going to take kindly to you saying that the sport is not producing guys that can hit baseballs. So we continue with more on the other side after this.
Life never stops moving. And between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up. A tire designed for doers. A tire that's going to last. Like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire. He doesn't always drink beer, but when he does, he definitely prefers Dos Equis. That's right. The most interesting man in the world has returned, and he's more interesting than ever before. His phone is addicted to him. All of his teeth, all are wisdom teeth. So raise a Dos Equis to the man, the myth, the legend. And remember, stay thirsty, my friends. Dos Equis, enjoy responsibly. 2026 Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Are you tired of hiding your smile because of crooked teeth? At Knoxville Smiles, we've got the perfect solution. Invisalign. No metal, no wires. Just clear, comfortable aligners that straighten your teeth without anyone noticing. Eat what you want, smile with confidence, and see results in as little as 6 months. Call us today for more information about Invisalign, 865-539-1776. Or just visit us online at knoxvillesmiles.com. Smile brighter with Knoxville Smiles.
Nothing reminds you of how much you rely on your air conditioner like the first really hot day in East Tennessee. Schedule Pipe Wrench Home Services' $79 seasonal tune-up now before the heat sets in. Our certified technicians inspect, clean, and fine-tune your HVAC system to help it run efficiently and reliably while reducing the risk of breakdowns when you need it most. And while we're there, we can also recommend ways to improve your indoor air quality for cleaner, healthier air throughout your home. For more than 20 years, homeowners across Knoxville, Maryville, Oak Ridge, and surrounding communities have trusted Pipe Wrench Home Services for dependable comfort. And with their same-day service guarantee, you won't be left waiting when comfort matters most. Schedule your $79 seasonal tune-up today at pipewrench.com. Same-day service guaranteed, or the visit is free. Offer valid on standard systems only. Visit pipewrench.com for details.
Baseball fans, it's time to step up to the plate. Look your best. Get some new Tennessee gear from Alumni Hall. Alumni Hall has the best selection. Top brands for you to choose from this season. Look, it's nice and warm outside, so get into any of their 6 air-conditioned East Tennessee locations. Shop online, download the app, grab your Tennessee baseball jersey, your hat, your decal, maybe a t-shirt, and they have so much more. Earn $10 in rewards for every $150 you spend. Go Vols and shop Alumni Hall, your ultimate Tennessee shopping destination. Touch them all with Alumni Hall. When it's time for a fresh coat of paint, run, don't walk to Walker's Painting. Interior and exterior, Walker's Painting's been making it beautiful since 1999 across the Knoxville area. New construction, repaints, commercial, residential, free estimates available. And get this, mention you heard Walker's Painting on the Basilio Show, 10% off your first job. Let's go! Run, don't walk to Walker's Painting. 865-688-1410. That's 865-688-1410. Walker's Painting, making it beautiful since 1999. Check out the ad at the blog at tclub.team. Walker's Painting.
Inward Half is committed to the game and the memorable moments that happen in between. From the tee box to the tailgate, from the green to the big game. For the first birdie with Dad, the first big win with Mom. Friday night lights, Saturday superstitions, Sunday traditions. Fall into the comfort and unparalleled performance of Inward Half. This fall, enjoy the walk-in.
School is out, so let's kick off summer with your Knoxville Smokies. Next week is a huge week for your Smokies. He's back. It's the king himself. It's Elvis night on Thursday. Get your herd together because it's Chick-fil-A night on Friday with post-game fireworks. Live wrestling and fireworks for wrestling night on Saturday and Sunday. It's our kids' summer kickoff. Yes, it's June 7th. 6-7. It's jam-packed, so get your tickets now at smokiesbaseball.com.
It's the hottest post-game show on the planet. Garza Law. Fifth quarter fan reaction. Fan reaction. As soon as the final gun sounds, we're live.
All right, Coach Monaco now joins us. He's on the call this week. And I don't know what Kendall Rogers. I feel like I'm in the middle of a bunch of I guess we all are, because we're in a bunch of inside jokes with these jokers. Kendall Rogers, who we're calling Big Tex now. We've got Mike Monaco. I don't know what Berkey's nickname is for him. I call him Young BC. The great young Bob Costas now join. He can go from one sport to the other and just make it sound so easy. Now, I will say this. He does call Chapel Hill Chapel Thrill, which gets on my nerves a little bit, but that's cool. Hey, Monaco, as I bring you in, what is this thing about Berkey, who's now listening and is very upset because somebody was criticizing why we're not producing more great hitters in Major League Baseball from the college game? James Daniel IV, he's being a hater over here in my chat. But Berkey, what is this thing about his 14-minute mile? What is this about?
So, Tony, first of all, great to be with you. Thank you for the invite.
You're the man, and brother. You're the man.
The unwarranted but still kind words from you. I don't know firsthand what the 14-minute mile is about. I heard Big Tex, Kendall Rogers, earlier in the hour, to use some radio speak, discussing this. I don't know it firsthand. I have seen Berkey out in the wild running in Omaha and other cities of your choosing. I would not have guessed it were a 14-minute mile. So maybe Father Time's catching up. Maybe his play on the basketball court is leaving a little bit to be desired. I'm not certain. 14 is staggering to hear, and it will be rectified when he and I are pounding the pavement in Omaha.
Well, yeah, because you're going to be like, if you're like me, you'll be like on a bicycle and he'll be running behind you. I mean, obviously you guys are in incredible shape. Berkey, I will tell the living listener this. Berkey looks like he's either taking the pellets or the rub. At his age, he's doing something. and listen, I'm for it, not against it. The cream and the clear Berkey. He's got the veins popping out up top here, the schmedium shirt on. ladies, I mean, the guy's good looking. There's just no question about it. All right, let's talk about this. Tennessee's draw. It looks like ECU is not going to throw their number one. Tennessee's not throwing their one, it looks like, on Friday. Do you agree with this strategy these teams are now employing? Mike Monaco, you for several years have been calling this sport.
Well, let's start with the first part of it. I am totally understanding of East Carolina not throwing Ethan Norby. He's their star. Like, he is maybe a top 2 round draft pick. He's 60th on our MLB draft rankings. And he pitched twice in the conference tournament, including Sunday, to clinch them a spot in really what was a must-win game. I'm not sure they would have got in as an at-large. In the conference title game on Sunday, he went 5 2/3, shutout ball, 8 strikeouts. Like, it's just what he is. And I think because of that, though, it's too much to bring him back Friday. I think you need to get him the extra day. Cliff Godwin hasn't explained that that's his reasoning for doing it, but I think that's certainly got to be part of it. So not surprised that that's the case. And I am surprised, or I will be surprised, if Tennessee does not throw Coons. I think you just need to start out with your ace, especially with him not throwing in Hoover. Like, he's ready to go, especially because Blanco threw. And especially because of the Landon Mack situation, I think it's so important to win your first game if you're the Vols. So if it were me, I would throw Tegan Coons on Friday. I think that's really something you have to do. And if it is Coons against the guy that East Carolina's throwing, Ryan Towers, you definitely like your chances. Now, Towers has been good recently, but, it's more of a veteran pitchability left-hander. His hardest pitch this year is 91. If you're throwing Coons, a first-rounder in that game, you certainly like your chances of starting off with a win.
I don't think they're going to do that. I think the Vols are going to pitch off, and I think they're going to throw their number 2 guy who was at Virginia, who probably is pretty familiar with North Carolina, even though these players change. But back to where we are, this Carolina Regional, you call it Chapel Thrill. It is a crazy venue. It's a great venue. I love how the seating alignment, how people are just right on top of the field. It's a cool looking venue that they have. What's it like calling games in that place? You obviously enjoy it.
It's a beautiful town. Chapel Hill's just gorgeous. Like, it's in some ways a quintessential college town. It's not the biggest ballpark, but it's right there among a big athletic area. They got the football practice facility behind you, kind of in some ways like Tennessee. You got the field hockey out in right field. You'll get fans like in the field hockey stadium looking in at the baseball stadium, Boschmer Stadium. I think it's about 5,000, but man, they're going to turn up for that. And look, I think all the fan bases are going to be well represented. I think certainly the top 3 seeds. I mean, I don't need to say to you how the Vols fan base is. And East Carolina not being too far, like, they're crazy about their baseball program. So I think it's going to be more than just Carolina blue that we see there this weekend. And they've had some crazy games there in the postseason the last couple of years. I can't take credit for coining Chapel Thrill, so hopefully I also can't take your criticisms for it, Tony. But I deserve that, man. And if you're a Vols fan, you don't want to see any of that. You don't want to see any of what they call Bosch magic. But I think it's going to be a great regional because, if you're North Carolina, I think you got the toughest regional of any of those, maybe top 8s or certainly top 5 seeds.
As we visit today and break it down scientifically with the great Mike Monaco of ESPN, who, I mean, he's incredible. The stuff he does over on ESPN. He's on the call this week. This North Carolina bunch, you saw them. You called the ACC tourney. Here's a team that wasn't hitting the long ball, and the thing that concerns me is they're now hitting the long ball. They woke up in that tournament. The question is, was that because they were feasting on some middle tier at times? Because when you get into these teams' bullpens, it is what it is in all these sports, and Tennessee's not alone. But some middle tier ACC pen pitching, Or do you think they're right now really in the groove? Carolina, I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think they're in a great spot offensively. In May, Tony, it's like 10 runs a game for their offense. And now, granted, that's not against all heavyweight types of teams. They put up 6 against a really good Georgia Tech team in the title game. They lost that game. They put up 13 against Pitt. Pitt was the Cinderella. The pitching was really thin for Pitt by that point in the semis.
Yeah.
They did hang 10 on Virginia Tech in their first game there in the quarters. They beat up on NC State, taking 2 out of 3 late in the regular season. But it's not like they've done it against the heavyweights of the conference. But that being said, I do think the offense has been better, not in a way that's totally dissimilar from Tennessee's offense getting better, especially after the way Tennessee's offense was really in March. But for North Carolina, I think there's a lot more to like about the offense now. They got 2 really good bats right at the top of the lineup. Owen Hull, who bats third, George Mason transfer, and Jake Schaffner, who's their shortstop, a North Dakota State transfer. Both those guys have been really good. And Hull in particular, last month and this month, is just playing at such a high level. Berkey and I were texting this morning, just gawking at this guy's RBI totals. He's driven in 75, which is top 10 in the country. He only has 7 home runs. He's hitting like 500 with runners in scoring position. It's kind of hard to do, to have that many RBIs with that few home runs. But the offense has been better. But they come down, and I think Big Tex was talking about this earlier. North Carolina's built on its pitching. And it's 5 guys who have thrown like 2/3 of their innings all year. It's a big 5. It's really a big 4. Their Sunday starter, Folger Boaz, is not in the same group as their big 4 arms. But if you do have a concern, it's that their Friday starting pitcher, Jason DeCaro, who I do expect to go in their first game. They're not going to pitch off, I wouldn't think. Scott Forbes almost never does. Him, Jason DeCaro on Fridays, and Ryan Lynch on Saturdays, they have had a little bit of trouble pitching deep into games. So for as good as North Carolina's pitching is, and it's the best pitching staff in the ACC, it's one of, if not the best, power conference pitching staffs in the country. That is a concern, just getting deep into games and being efficient with your pitch count.
And the thing about that Carolina team is they're not going to give you anything. That's the other thing.
No.
Like, you got to earn everything you're going to get against them. And that lineup. Now, let me ask you this. You haven't called games there. This Tennessee team's all of a sudden starting to hit the long ball. They were hitting it a little bit in Hoover, but they were really hitting it in Oklahoma and at AAA Park and just playing pretty well. Venue-wise, dimensions-wise, how does that ballpark play for the Vols?
It's interesting. In right center, it's not super deep. Coaches will tell you that. I was just having this conversation with a coach in Charlotte at the ACC tournament. But this year, it's kind of weird. The park has played really big. So much so that Scott Forbes and other coaches in the league have called it that it's like a force field, that it's just keeping the game low scoring there. So I don't know how it's going to play. I have heard that earlier in the day, if you're playing an afternoon game and it's hot, which I think it very well could be for Tennessee's opener there on Friday against ECU, and that it plays bigger, as you would expect. But it has played like a pitcher's park, which I think really, really favors North Carolina in that ballpark.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about that. So project ahead for me. Let's say Tennessee gets through game 1 against an East Carolina team. By the way, I don't know that they will get through game 1. I don't trust our bullpen even a little bit, but that's another story for another day. I'm just going to throw that in there. I think you know me well enough by now to know that I don't pull punches. I don't have to. So, but let's say they do get through, and let's say it's Coons v. North Carolina. Having seen them several times, and you've seen the Coons kid pitch as well, what is your sense of how that matchup will go on Saturday?
Man, I really like that matchup. I think to see a well-rested Coons, having not thrown in Hoover, that'd be pretty appetizing against North Carolina. Again, I don't know if it'll get to that point. I think Elander's talking in like a half hour or something, so I'll be curious to see what he says. But if you get to that point, you got to like the matchup. In theory, he'd be going up against Ryan Lynch, who, again, is the Saturday starter for North Carolina. Ryan Lynch is really talented. He's the hardest thrower on North Carolina's staff. He does that as a starting pitcher. He basically sits 95 with his fastball. He's got a slider that's been up and down. Lynch has said it himself. Some outings it's terrible. Some outings it's really good. And it's mostly a 2-pitch mix for him. He was awesome. He was a freshman All-American last year. He's still been really solid. It's like a mid-4s ERA for this kid. But he will get you into some counts. So if Tennessee's offense, in theory, if they face him, if Tennessee's offense can be really patient and make him come in the zone, you can grind him down. And in theory, you might be able to get him out of the game early. But again, behind him, there's 2 other stud pitchers that come out of the bullpen for North Carolina. The ACC Freshman of the Year, Caden Glauber, who for a lot of teams, this is not hyperbole, for a lot of teams, he would be their Friday starter, and he will be for North Carolina next year. And then other than him, this kid, Walker McDuffie, who, Tony, if you haven't seen this kid, you're going to love him. He's this little kid. They list him at 6 feet. He can't be 6 feet. He wears glasses on the mound, like these Ray-Bans, like specs. And he just comes out there and he's just whipping slider after slider. It's just pew, pew. It's nasty. And he was like this last year as a freshman. I talked to their pitching coach at one point last year. He said, "Hey, I walked by this kid once in the hallway when the kid wasn't wearing his glasses." He said, "I didn't recognize him." It's just awesome. So anyway, they got these 2 guys in the bullpen that, look, even if you get a short start from one of the starters, you could run with one of these bullpen pieces for 4 or 5 innings. It's kind of like what we saw Arvidsson do last year at times. So, they're well positioned if you get to that game to still have some bullets if you get a short start. But I think that's why it's so important that from North Carolina's perspective to get a good long start from DeCaro on Friday, especially when you're playing the 4 seed.
Mike Monaco, one of our contribs, Taylor, was talking about East Carolina is just ridiculously talented as a 3 and kind of dangerous, for the Vols. And that VCU team's not a pushover either. I mean, this thing could be an interesting and volatile region. I think you're in a great spot here. I think this thing could be interesting this weekend. What do you think?
I think we really could too. I mean, VCU, Tony, could have been a 3. They really could have. And they've had success in recent years. I want to say, and my fact-checking game is a little off right now. I'm trying to learn 4 teams. I think they've been to 4 of the last 6 regionals. VCU has. Yeah. And their head coach, who KR was talking about earlier, guy was a freshman in college in 2015. He's making me feel old.
What?
Killing me. And yeah, he's their head coach now. He was a pitcher for them when they went to a regional.
Wow.
I believe in 15, he won their regional clinching game to get them to a super.
Wow.
Anyway, all of that to say, Tony, they got good history. And, it very easily could have been a 3 seed. It's all about pitching and defense with VCU. Best pitching team by far in the Atlantic 10 Conference. They're kind of middle of the pack offensively. They'll play small ball, which for the old school aficionados out there, they're going to love that. But it's all about pitching and defense for them. They got a bunch of dudes who threw like 3 or 4 times in the conference tournament just to get them to this point. They had to do it the hard way, facing elimination a few times in the conference tournament. They beat the University of Rhode Island twice, a lot of good paisans in Providence. And they got an 18-16 win over URI in one of those games. So, I mean, all bets are off with a team that comes in like that. But, yeah, they're going to be staring uphill on Friday against UNC.
Here's my dream, Mike Monaco. The Vols win Game 1. Game 2, they get out to an early lead on North Carolina, and they let that home crowd chew on the and put the pressure on their kids, just like the Montreal Canadiens have had their home crowd. Isn't that the weirdest thing in the world, how those professional athletes, and you were in the house for one of those Tampa games when they had a chance to take command in that series. They had to go to Tampa and win twice. in Tampa's building to get through and then winning a Game 7. Weird thing in sports, how sometimes the home crowd can work against you. Do you feel it when you're calling games?
Yeah, I think you definitely do. And shoot, I've heard coaches say it in the NHL. Like, sometimes it's just easier to be on the road. And like Buffalo went through this when they were still in it.
Yes.
And then Lindy Ruff was like wanting them to stay in a hotel and when they got back into town just try to keep it as similar to being on the road. I don't know why it happens, but I can understand it, that there's just more to think about. And yeah, like you want to perform so well. I think there's something that is unifying when you're in a building that's totally against you. Probably brings you together more and keeps it simple, brings out more from you. But I don't know. Yeah. What is it? Game 4 tonight, right? It's going to be rocking again at the Bell Center, but you don't want to go down 3-1 against Carolina because, I mean, your Flyers thought like that Carolina team can smother you.
Oh, you'll get
How about
smothered.
Vegas?
How about John Tortorella gets the job, like literally 8 games left in the regular season, and they're going to play for a Stanley Cup, man, with Carter Hart, who was tied up in something heinous. You can look it up if you want to online, those of you that are uninitiated, but he's a former Flyer goalie, and he has been unbelievably stellar. And that Avalanche team folded like a cheap tent. Nobody saw that coming. And I know they've had a couple of injuries, and we get it. McKinnon and Makar, we get it. But there's no reason to get swept like that. Just no reason.
Flabbergasted. I'm flabbergasted, Tony.
Unbelievable.
I cannot believe John Tortorella 58 days ago was working in an ESPN studio.
Yeah.
Now he's in the Stanley Cup final.
Yes. You're the man. Much love to you. And Tortorella, one thing about him, he'll still find a way to be sardonic and sour and bitter. And you talk about a guy that gives a bad name to Paisans, but then again, he can coach. And he kind of and he did a nice job with my Flyers as well, making that pile of players they had respectable during his tenure. But boy, you talk about a guy like Chris Burke who really wears on you. That's John Tortorella, man.
Hey, Tony, one thing is for certain.
Yes.
You give a great name to Paisans.
Go! Let's go! Mike Monaco, I love you. I appreciate you. A shout out on the call would be greatly appreciated. If not, no pressure. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you, Mike Monaco. You're the man.
My pleasure. You are too. See ya.
Thank you. He's the best. He's calling the action this week. Brian Hartman's a big Monaco fan. I would like to visit at some point. Princess Grace, shout out as well. R.I.P. Let's go back to the phones. 865-200-540. No, what am I doing? No. What am I saying? Watson Brown on the way next, hour 2.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
Tona B, inviting you to experience the Collins Insurance difference. What's that? How about multiple top carriers that you can trust? Like Erie. They underwrite our entire Rainier studio and everything around it. Travelers, Hartford, Hanover, Progressive. We do what's right because we care. In today's technology-driven world, maintaining the human touch, Bruce Springsteen, is one of our main focuses. We deliver the best customer service humanly possible. We give you someone that you can actually call or sit in front of. Imagine that. No call centers here. Experience the Collins Insurance difference. Check them out at collinsinsurantetn.com, and they're Mrs. B approved. Collins Insurance.
Big news, Basilio family. Get ready because the 2026 Knoxville real estate market is officially shifting into high gear. All signs are pointing toward a record-breaking year, and the energy across East Tennessee is absolutely electric right now. Whether you've been dreaming of finding that next home, looking to capitalize on your current equity, or ready to dive into the investment world, the timing has never been better. Having a game plan is the key to winning in this fast-paced market, and I'm ready to help. Give me a call, Jennifer Morris, at 865-6 694-5904 or reach out at nextmovesmokymountains.com. That's nextmovesmokymountains.com, and go Vols.
Basilio here with the great Chad Stockton of FC Alliance. And Chad, I can hear it in the background, brother. It's World Cup season, and you guys are in the middle of it. Talk to me.
We are excited. Our U9 through U12 trials just kicked off today for our locations in Knoxville and in Johnson City. So we're ready to offer any player top-level competition, top-level training anywhere they want to be in Northeast Tennessee. In our programs, we offer competitive play for anywhere from 9-year-olds to 19-year-olds. We've got 2 locations. Our location in Knoxville is kind of our home base, and our location up in Johnson City in the Tri-Cities area is our FC Alliance North. Both locations are growing tremendously, and we're excited about what the future holds here at both locations.
Growing the beautiful game in the season of the World Cup. Chad Stockton, how can folks get more information?
Go to our website, FC Alliance or FCAllianceNorth.org, and both locations we're happy to serve the beginning player or the more experienced player, because what we will promise is the top-level training and top-level leagues that we can play in for all of our players.
Growing the beautiful game in Knoxville and now also in the Tri-Cities. FC Alliance. Thank you, Chad Stockton.
Thanks, buddy.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Got a plumbing or HVAC problem at home? Whether it's an AC that won't cool, a furnace acting up, a clogged drain, or a water heater problem, Pipe Wrench Home Services is ready to help. Right now, when you schedule any HVAC or plumbing repair, your service fee is waived with the completed repair. That means expert help fast without the extra cost just to show up. Our certified technicians will quickly diagnose the issue and provide reliable solutions to make your home comfortable again. And with our same-day service guarantee, you won't be left waiting when help matters most. For more than 20 years, homeowners across Knoxville, Maryville, Oak Ridge, and surrounding communities have trusted Pipe Wrench Home Services for dependable comfort. Schedule your repair today at pipewrench.com. Same-day service guaranteed, or the visit is free. Service fee waived with completed HVAC or plumbing repair. Restrictions apply. Visit pipewrench.com for details.
Okay, so we really need uniforms and equipment for this season. Can I trust you with that? Cool, I'll just order them online. What? Yeah, I'm going to hop online and I'm going to get them ordered. Hold up, that's not a good idea. We shouldn't just spend money on some random online retailer, okay? I mean, it seems pretty convenient. Trust me, it's a terrible idea. Let me simplify this for you. SM Athletics. Okay, how do you pronounce it? SM Athletics? They're the go-to for uniforms and equipment, whether it's for universities, high schools, youth leagues, you name it. So why wouldn't you rather go with professionals who can guide us through the process, design the perfect uniforms, and deliver the best equipment? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. What's the name again? SM Athletics. Right. It's definitely smarter to go with a company that emphasizes customer service, fair pricing, and, of course, excellent products. Exactly. So, yeah, I guess it's settled then. For uniforms and equipment for all sports, it's SM Athletics.
When a dangerous, overgrown, or storm-damaged tree is threatening your home, your car, or your family, don't risk it. Call ECR Total Landscapes, your local tree-cutting experts. From precision tree removal and trimming to emergency storm cleanup, ECR Total Landscapes has the equipment and the experience to get the job done safely and efficiently. Call today to set up your free estimate, 865-384-2012, or just go online to ecrtotallandscapes.com.
Preparing food for a big gathering can really take it out of you. That's why you need to call Calhoun's and check out their selection of party platters. Whether you're hosting a party for the big game, a reunion, or just an everyday gathering, a Calhoun's party platter is next level. Choose from Calhoun's always excellent chicken tenders, fly with Calhoun's wings, or boneless wings with a variety of dipping sauces, award-winning next-level melt-in-your-mouth barbecue ribs, or delicious spinach artichoke dip, or get one of each. Plus, if you're doing burgers or sandwiches, Calhoun's has lots of side dishes like spinach Maria, baked cinnamon apples, Smoky Mountain baked beans, or creamy coleslaw. Available in pints, quarts, and gallons. And to finish things off, pick up one of Calhoun's great desserts to go, including homemade cheesecake or key lime pie. Calhoun's, simply your go-to party headquarters. With 9 locations all over East Tennessee, you can order online and just pick it up. Calhoun's, one of the Copper Cellar family of restaurants, along with Chesapeake's, Copper Cellar, Corner 16, Cherokee Grill, and Smoky Mountain Brewery. Eat local, eat good. Like our 2026 football Vol, score a T3 TD every time with T3 Vodka, Tennessee's premium vodka, handcrafted with passion, precision, and a whole lot of pride. Right here, handcrafted in the majesty of the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains. Quality around here isn't just a promise, it's a way of life. And T3's filtered 10 times. 80 proof of vodka delivering a smoothness unmatched. This dedication to excellence has earned T3 Vodka prestigious accolades, like a 5-time gold medal award-winning vodka and your SIPS Consumer Choice Award medal winner as well. Whether you're sipping it neat, on the rocks, mixing your favorite cocktail, T3 Vodka, your choice for a premium award-winning experience. Be like Maury Hanks. Score a T3 TD. Ask for T3 Vodka by name at restaurants and wine and liquor stores today. Drink it neat, drink it right, and score a T3 TD all 2026 long. Tennessee's Premium Vodka, T3, Tennessee's Premium Vodka, distributed by Empire Distributors of Tennessee. TB here for Cedar Bluff Plumbing, a live and local company that's been serving our area for over 32 years and counting, because every customer counts, and I mean no job is too small. Cedar Bluff Plumbing just voted #1 by City View magazine because multiple plumbing experts are on call to serve all your plumbing needs. Chances are there'll be a plumber in your area when you call, and they won't send some salesman to your house. You're going to get a high character, trustworthy, highly trained plumber who will serve you, not like some of these guys that look like they came off the set of America's Most Wanted. Cedar Bluff Plumbing is Basilio tested and approved and will go the extra mile for you because Chucky Mack is a servant of the people and my consigliere to the throne, celebrating over 32 years of serving living volunteers. Cedar Bluff Plumbing. Call 588-4448. That's 588-4448. Cedar Bluff Plumbing. All right, time to shift our focus, ladies and gentlemen. Time to shift our focus to football as we welcome you back to hour number 2. And we had 2 wonderful guests there. Sean Sinclair, there's a percolating story today that we're going to get on top of. I didn't know what Negative was talking about. Earlier, Negative come in and was pile driving Chaz Coleman, something about a pacifier and something else. And I thought, what is wrong with this Negative? So Negative, I will plead ignorance to you. I've got my head down and worried about doing the best show I can do today and doing what we're doing here. Cinco, bring us up to speed on this as I welcome in the great Watson Brown, presented by our friends at Simpson's Meats, online at simpsonsmeats.com. Sean, what is the story here as you know it?
Well, I have no information other than can be gleaned from
the great Austin
everybody
Price.
else. But
yes.
The team's coming back, I believe.
Yes.
And for the summer workouts. And
yes.
So as of yesterday, Austin Price wrote that Chaz is supposed to come back in town tomorrow. From what he's told, I'm quoting him, several things over the last month off the field have given confidence, but until he shows up for an extended period of time, none of it matters. He can be here Thursday and then next Thursday not be there. So who knows? All credit to Austin Price. He has, I'm sure he has
awesome.
Great contacts and sources and all that.
He's
Seems
buried
like
inside of it.
Always does a great job. But anyway, I don't glean any kind of rock solid confidence in that post from him. So that would have been today. I guess Coleman is supposed to be in. So we'll see.
But the team has already reported, right? And he's not there. Is that kind of the story?
I'm inferring that. I don't want to say that because I don't know. This was a post from yesterday, and there's been no follow up from Austin Price.
To the phones we go. Let's bring the great Watson Brown in. You know, Watson, as I bring you in against the backdrop that there's just so much stuff going on right now, the SEC meetings, and then you can go as granular as players when they're due back to report back, and then you're holding your breath as to whether or not they're going to come back. You know, the thing about this Coleman guy, Watson, and you and I were talking off the air, I just wanted to kind of just run it by you. The one thought I always have about coaches in today's day and age is that you like to think that you're the one controlling the room, the locker room, so to speak. But if you have guys that you make exceptions for 2 years in a row and you're a head coach, you're not controlling the room anymore. It's really, 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 with all these coaches now, these head coaches, they're in tough spots in this day and age because the kids really have the cards, Watson.
Yeah, and that summer thing has always been an issue. Somebody doesn't get back on time, exactly what are you going to do with them and this and that. But now when money is also involved in this, the difference to me today in today's world is these players know, and everybody says, well, they don't, they do. If anybody knows everything that's going on in the locker room, it's the players, and they're the last people you can fool. They know, and they know how much money a certain guy's making, and if he's not doing what everybody else is going to be doing, believe me, that makes it even worse than a guy that we're all doing the same thing. We're on scholarship, we're not making any money, and then somebody doesn't show for 3 or 4 days. And but now when the money is involved and they know how much money some of these are making and they know what they're making, to me it makes it even a tougher deal. So you have to be able to control the locker room, and I've always told you guys you can't fool them. You just don't fool them. If you think you can, I'm talking about the players, you're wrong. They're going to find out, they're going to figure it out, and they'll be the first to know. And so you've got to treat everybody different, as I've always told you guys, but at the same time, there's certain things you treat everybody the same. And you just can't put up with that. And if you do, and then you let them come back, you have already got a gray area in your locker room, and you've already got people taking sides. Anytime there's a fence straddle in that locker room, guys, you got half of them taking one side and half of them taking the other, and that's not a good deal.
Sean, any thoughts on that? In terms of, look, I don't, again, this story is catching me by surprise here, but just the concept of you've already been sort of a distraction in the spring, and you, at some point, you're crying wolf, you know?
I don't know the details. There's no way I'm going to offer something different than coach about the locker room or based on his experiences. But, you know, I will say this, that all situations are different.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to do is criticize Chris Lofton about some poor shooting and find out he has testicular cancer. And then I looked like an idiot several years ago. You know, I didn't criticize him on thing, but it's like, come on, man, I love you. Come on, man, hit the shot. And he had a legitimate thing. Or Joey Aguilar having a tumor in his arm, which we don't know. So I don't want to jump to conclusions. I hope the young man is healthy and he wants to play here. What would really bum me out, though, is if this is some kind of play that there's a regret to go to Tennessee and he ends up at like Ohio State or somewhere else and is perfectly healthy and playing. That would rub me the wrong way.
And that's the other thing, Watson, you and I were talking about during the break. When you allow the freedom of movement with these players, this bed's too soft, this bed's too hard, this bed's got this bed's got that, and then I'm on my 5th school. And really nobody can do anything about it.
No, till they get that under control, that's the first thing to me. The money to me is the second piece. The first piece is we can't keep letting these kids leave every year and go somewhere.
No,
because they're not learning anything. It's bad for them. It's not good for the university of whatever, but it's not good for the kid. We're hurting the kid when he runs from everything and he don't like this all of a sudden, then he's gone again. He's not getting enough shots, so he's gone again. He's not getting the ball thrown to him enough, and he's gone again. That's the stuff to me, guys. You never plant your feet and earn anything. And that's what life's all about. One of the great things football has taught me through coaches and through just experiences is how to get knocked down and to get back up and go again. And because you're going to run into it your whole life. And so that's what I think we're losing here when we're letting them do that. And this locker room thing, there's a lot of reasons. I've had kids come back late. But to me, it's what is the reason they're coming back late.
Yeah.
Did your grandfather die? That's a little different than just not showing up. So there's all kind of things that pop with kids coming late. But the ones that know why he's not there are the players.
Well,
they know.
And the other thing the kids know too, and this is where the rubber meets the road. This is why I'm talking about it right now, because I know nothing about why he's not here. Okay. Nothing.
Well, and I'm not even talking about this kid.
No, but
I'm talking in general.
But I want to make this clear about this kid though, because this is true. This guy disappeared for a couple weeks back in the spring. Yeah. So he better have a damn good excuse at the end of the day, which hopefully there's a reason and it all kind of makes sense and we all live happily ever after. But once this kind of thing begins, when you're around this long enough, Watson, and you know this more than anybody, it generally is not going to end well once this kind of thing. And now it can, but generally speaking, not the best of signs. Let's move along. This is breaking news.
I would say that's the percentages are not with it ended up being a good thing. That's the way.
Great way of putting
it. They don't all end up bad at all.
Sure.
But percentages wise, it's not usually a good thing.
Breaking news from the Associated Press: bipartisan college sports bill, which proposes a salary cap and a transfer limit, is about to drop. Bipartisan, Republican Ted Cruz, Maria Cantwell. He's a Republican, Texas. She's a Democrat, Washington. The chair and ranking members of something called the Senate Commerce Committee that oversees college sports just briefed the Associated Press on details of a bill that they crafted. They want to get 60 votes for this. Watson just got blowed up. Hopefully he calls back. But among some of the things that will appear in this bill, and it's highly interesting, there were two pieces of legislation, one called SCORE and the other called SAFE, that pretty much went nowhere in the past little bit. And what they've done is they've combined the two. And this bill offers what Cruz and Cantwell said was very targeted antitrust protection, which is a part of the largely Republican-backed SCORE Act that many Democrats opposed, and would also be in exchange for what Cruz said would be a public-facing protections for athletes in 10 areas, including guarantees for health insurance and scholarships, more stringent regulations for NIL deals from third parties. Cantwell says this is about better predictability. Why do we do it? Because when you have thousands of athletes being cut, hundreds of programs being cut, the risk to the whole infrastructure was too high not to try to get better predictability for everybody. Look, I think we all would agree that stability is something needed here. What they want to do is they want to regulate coaching movement. Under terms of the bill, mid-season college coaching changes would be prohibited. The bill would also rework the Sports Broadcasting Act to allow conferences to pull their TV rights, a move proponents have said could add billions of dollars to the ecosystem. In other words, the SEC and Big Ten break out and go get their own deal. go get their own deal, which is something I've been saying. Duke is forming their own thing with Prime. We talked about it. I just believe at the end of the day that we're living in a volatile landscape where anything's possible, television-wide. Look, I'm reading this as we go, so trying to digest it in real time. The bottom line with this, and I'd encourage you to go read up on it, but the bottom line with any kind of legislation, because they want one transfer only for athletes. They want to end poaching. In other words, what happened with Lane Kiffin, you cannot leave your team before a season's over. They want to make other amendments to NIL and give kids more freedom. But here's the problem. Okay? Here's the problem. How is any of this going to hold up in a court of law? Because the players have still, I'm telling you right now, this House case, the minute a group challenges the House case, it'll go up in smoke. Because you basically wrote something into law where the other party hasn't agreed to it. Now, they're abiding by it for now, but they haven't agreed to it. I just don't see how it holds up. I don't want to be a party pooper here. But Watson, a lot of that I love. This free player transfer stuff, free player transfer movement, they want to stop. Coaches like Lane Kiffin should not be able to leave a playoff team. That's just not legitimate. I call that unprofessional sports is what major college sports are right now, Watson. That's my term for it. It's unprofessional. That's not a professional way to do things, leaving a playoff team.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And in the NFL, you can't leave till your contract's up. Period.
Yes.
You can't do it. And coach anywhere else in the NFL, you cannot do it. So I'm for making it much tougher on coaches because, and here's one move 6 times, took 6 different head coaching positions. So I've done that. Now I've never left a team during the season. I didn't do that. But I also left a team that was runner-up for the national championship and had everybody back and left in June before the season started. I just think that we need to get this coaches thing under control.
And really, at the end of the day, the coaches thing is what led the players to say, if you guys are going to jump around, we need to jump around. All of us need to jump around. So, the other piece, and Watson, you were away, but they also want a 5% max agent fee. It is included in the language in the bill. There's one-time transfer limit in the bill. I just don't see how that holds up in court. And polling of media rights will be allowed. So our pooling of SEC media rights is going to be allowed as well, which is something that the SEC and Big Ten didn't want, according to Pete Nakos, who we ought to attempt to get on here. That guy is really, really good at going into the fine print. But, Watson, I just don't see how, unless you give these players, and now they're in this bill, they're saying the players are going to have health insurance, whether these, and this is one of the reasons why these schools have stayed away from this, for making them employees for forever. They don't want to cross that health insurance Rubicon where it's guaranteed to everybody. But they say it is. They say that comes with it now, but they don't want to make these people full-time employees with full-time benefits, Watson. It's the strangest thing in the world, how colleges have gotten themselves twisted into this.
Yeah, it is. But I don't see down the road how it stays away from them not being full-time. employees.
Yep.
Sooner or later, that's going to happen. I say all the time, and I'm not a legal expert by any means, but I say all the time, just look at the NFL and whatever they're trying to propose, you're going to know what can happen and what can't happen just through the NFL. And I'm just telling you, because they've been through every bit of this.
Yes.
They've had to do all of these things that college athletics is now starting to have to do. And if I'm sitting there as a president of a university or an athletic director, I'm looking hard at the NFL, Major League Baseball, whatever. I'm looking hard. And because I can pretty much tell you what the outcome's going to be if I get in there and study how they've done things. Go back and look at the history of how all the NFL went down. That would be an interesting thing to do because that's exactly the route I think college sports is going to have to take.
Danny White, who I have some fun with on here. Danny White's right. Until you sit the players down and they form a union and we have collective bargaining, we're going to live in this period we're in. They're going to put this legislation forth, and it's going to get challenged, and it's not going to live to see the light of day. I don't care if they pass it. It's just not, because the courts are going to say, you guys, the players aren't represented here.
Well, and this kind of stuff is what would get a union together.
That's right.
There's no doubt about it.
That's right.
That'll be the next step. You watch. That'll be the next step.
Yeah.
When you're taking things away from the player, if you're taking transfer possibilities away from them, they're not going to just sit there. And that's where the unions get formed.
Yeah,
that's how it happens. And so I think that's the next step, because go back and look and see when it happened in the NFL, when it happened in Major League Baseball, and you're going to know how all this is going to take place.
So let's move along. They're meeting in Destin, Florida, and one of the least surprising things ever is that the SEC commissioner put his finger up in the air and went, "Oh, you people won a 2014 playoff. Guess what? So do I now." So I've seen the light over here. Meanwhile, Kirby Smart is calling for the SEC along with the Georgia contingent. They just want to break away from the whole thing, and let's just have our own league where we play, we get our own TV rights, and we just do our own thing. I think there's a move afoot, by the way, to do that, Watson, down the line. I think you're going to have the AFC and the NFC. The SEC is going to be one of those. The Big Ten is going to be one of those. We're going to pull our TV, kind of like the networks used to do. One network will have this league. One network will have this league. And may the richer league win. That's kind of where we're coming. It's really sad, man.
It is exactly where it's coming, and that's what we predicted on this show a year ago. I mean, this is exactly what I think is going to happen. How quickly it happens, I don't know. But again, it's going to follow the NFL format. That's what it's going to do, and you're going to have the SEC is still going to be grabbing more schools. The Big Ten is going to grab more schools. That's going to happen. Who's going to control this is who controlled it in the NFL. What controlled it in the NFL? TV money. TV money controlled it in the NFL. And when that league was formed and now they're taking the NFL on, what brought them together? TV money.
TV money. And the AFL, by the way.
They made a killing. They made a killing from it.
Yep.
And that's who's going to control this, Tony. ESPN and Fox, and then if CBS wants to get back in, or whoever wants to get back in this, it's not going to happen until they've got that unbelievable TV package right beside them.
Well, I'll tell you this. Jerry Moorhead said that going to a 2014 playoff is a mistake. The Big Ten hasn't thought through the implications. I'll tell you what the Big Ten's thought through. How much money's out there. And here's the thing, Watson, about today's day and age. You go to watch an NBA playoff game right now, you don't know, like in the early rounds, you didn't know where it was. That league doesn't care about that because they made a huge deal with a couple streaming services to buy some of their product. These people want live programming. The WNBA, for crying out loud, just got a good TV deal. And nobody looks at that. No offense to them. And so the point is that these streaming services, imagine, Watson, what one of these streaming services would pay for a piece of the college football playoff, and how many Tennessee fans, Vanderbilt fans, whomever, Auburn, Alabama, Penn State, Notre Dame would subscribe to a service and then forget it's on their bill, which is the real kick here, just to watch their team play in a playoff game.
There's not much I'm an old timer, so I don't stream at all.
Right.
But there's one way to get me streaming.
You damn straight. You said it.
If it's the only way I can watch college football.
You said it. How about that? Watson speaking the truth, y'all. Just like Watson presented by our friends. And this is the truth here. Simpsons Meats, it's unbelievable, Andy. I mean, you got to taste it to believe it. Every once in a while, you got to treat yourself. Look, the warm weather summer months are here. Let me paint a picture for you. You're out at the you're outside and you're grilling, and you got something from the grocer, but you're just kind of like, what would it be like if I had the best on the grill right now, and I seasoned it my way and I treated myself? Simpsons Meats. Or you want to treat somebody else, or you have a friend or a client you want to say thank you to. Simpsons Meats. They will ship anywhere in the world for you. Simpsonsmeats.com. Steaks make a great gift, and gift boxes are available. But Watson, that's the truth, right? I mean, if they put a college football playoff game on Netflix, Watson Brown's buying a Netflix subscription. It's a truth.
Got to. I'm not going to miss some of the important stuff like that. I mean, in some ways we saw it. We've seen it in college basketball. It's not streaming, but when CBS and they go to
Cinco, Watson's going in and out on me here. Your thoughts here on, it would be interesting if the SEC broke away and just formed their own league, Sean, and played for their own championship. Which is what the guy at, which is what the head of Georgia's blustering about. It would never happen, but people would tune in and look at that, Sean. Would they not?
They would, but I think it would get boring quick. I mean, so you're the SEC champion. Okay. I mean, that's the whole thing is watching, competing against everybody, I think. So, it wasn't Danny White's original idea, but he's the one throwing it out there in town square, collective bargaining, et cetera. I don't think they can do whatever they want in Washington. It's not going to hold up, I don't believe, because kids are allowed to make whatever they want to make.
Yeah. And by the way, there's nothing tying this Coleman guy to come back to Tennessee. He can put that money in his pocket right now and walk away. He could put that money. That's Watson dismounting once again. He could put that money in his pocket and walk away.
Yeah, but I've been led to believe that we protected ourselves much better this time than we did with Nico originally.
Oh yeah. That's right. The thing Tennessee's done, and I was telling Sink this, I'm gonna share it on the air though. With a kid like this now, and I think a lot of these schools are learning their lessons. When a guy transferred before, you would give him a lump sum, a huge payment. Tennessee did not do that with him. They're not as exposed. The problem is, though, you would gladly pay him if he's there. That's why you recruited him. But you're not going to be out. If he doesn't play, they're not going to be out much money. They haven't. That's why basically, I mean, I'm not going to say it's why he stayed, but that's essentially, that's the carrot here. Why would I give you, on the front end of this thing, they were making huge payments to Nico monthly. They're not doing that anymore. You come, here's your sum for coming, but you got to play now. You got to play. And then, you get paid as we go here. But anyway, Watson Brown back with us. Watson, talking to Sean, in a perfect world, the guy at Georgia's right. The SEC breaks off and they go play their own thing. He's right. Sean's right. That would get boring very quickly. And I wish this guy at Georgia would quit saying it, because it sounds foolish that we're just going to break away and form our own league. Your strength is based on the fact that, and look, in a 2014 playoff, whether we like it or not, the number is 80 teams would have made a playoff in the last 14 years. I mean, you and I can argue about how bad it is and how silly it is, but it would keep a lot more teams alive, and it would keep a lot more teams interested in competing in high-level Division I football if you had a 2014 playoff. That is just the truth. And I hate the idea, by the way. Is Watson there? Sounds like we're having trouble connecting with Watson. Hey, Brian, text him and tell him we'll catch up to him next week. I don't know whether it's my phone lines down here acting squirrely. We've had a few issues. But, and here's the other thing about a 2014 playoff that I've come around to. Danny White's right about this. When you look at the percentages of teams in other sports that make the playoffs, in the NBA, it's 50%. In the NHL, it's 50%. It's over 50 in the NBA now. They have some silly play-in thing they call a playoff. In college basketball, the number is higher when you think about the power league teams that get in. And when you're talking about 100 and whatever it is, 30 teams that endeavor to play Division I football, even if you just say 60 teams, okay? Let's say there are 60 teams playing power league football, power conference football, group of 4 football, if you will. 24 out of 60 when you compare it to other leagues. And Watson said, look at the NFL for more. 24 out of 60 is still less than percentage-wise than what makes it in the NFL playoff. So, Watson, I don't hate a 2014 playoff. I just have to admit it. I don't hate it. It keeps more teams involved.
I don't hate it. The FC, I've been in it on 2 levels in Division II and FCS, and I'm telling you, those aren't great because of the automatic bids.
Yep.
You just give automatic bids to these conferences that don't need to be there. But they wouldn't do that. And so you're going to get the best 24 teams. That's a complete different early game schedule, early games in the playoffs. And they're going to be a lot better than the FCS games are or the Division II games are. So I'm not against it either, because that's about where you can cut it off, that the games would become blowouts. Right around that top 25 down, I don't think they'd be blowouts, especially if you're not playing 25 against 1. If you're playing 25 against 16 or something like that. So I'm not against it either at all, Tony. I still say we're going to end up with an NFL format and 2 sides, and there's going to be about 20 teams in each side and about 40 total in the top level of FBS, and then they're going to play each other. That's what I think is going to happen. I don't know how quickly it's going to happen. It might be more than 40. It might get all the way to 50, but that's what's going to happen.
Breakout of teams and playoffs. If you look at other just professional leagues, I'm going off the Athletic here. This is Stuart Mandel's work. NBA, 53% of the teams qualify for the playoff. NHL, 50%. NFL, 43%. Major League Baseball, 40%. NCAA tourney right now is 18.6% and growing. But again, I say, what is the real number with the NCAA basketball tourney? Look, because they're going to grow it. But the truth is, do teams in the 300s, are they really competing? Like there's 330 some odd Division I teams right now. Are they playing the same sport the University of Tennessee over here is playing? And the answer is no. I mean, that number looks good on paper, but I would wonder what that real number is. I might crunch that number myself. And in FBS right now, with a 12-team playoff, 8.8% of the teams have access. Now, I would say if we're going to have we're going to have a real conversation about this, a 12-team playoff with 60 teams that are really in that grouping, 60 teams really play like power D1 football right now, where they're out there, paying players a decent payroll and going for something at least. 12 out of 60, when you look at the other pro sports teams, it's just not enough. It's just not enough. And Watson, I think the point you bring up is a good one, which is I'm speaking of me, right? Ignorantly will look at the 24-team 1AA playoff and go, God, the first round in that is just unwatchable. You have a great point. The first round in this will not be unwatchable. Because once you get, even if you went and said team 1 plays team 24, team 2 plays, sure, you'll have a couple stinker games if you did it like that. But when you get into the middle of the bracket, it would get interesting very quickly. Like team 5 taking on team 20 or team 19, whatever the number is, it would get interesting very quickly. Because you would have some teams that just get in who will be power teams that have just gotten healthy, that will catch their second wind, that will be able to absolutely stay on the field and compete with those other teams.
Well, and I also think, Tony, you guys could debate this, but I think money has leveled the field. And now it's not just that traditional school that's always there. You're starting to get teams that haven't been there before, and if you've got enough money, now you can catch them. Whereas in the past, I'm not sure some of those schools could have ever caught them.
That's right.
But now with money, I think it levels the field, and all of a sudden, if you've got money and you have a good year, then all of a sudden you're starting to get better and you're staying better because you've got the piece you've got to have. When before you just didn't have it. You just did not have the pieces to catch Alabamas and Southern Cals. So
I think, yeah. Let me get Sean's thoughts on that. Hey, Sean, I think 24 incentivizes more teams to really compete at the highest level of the sport. Because the brass ring, you look at what Indiana did, but not only Indiana, you look at some other teams. You look at the fact that 80 teams qualified for a playoff. I really believe, Sean, that a 24-team playoff incentivizes other teams to really get in the game and go for it.
I'm for 24. I can't make an argument against it. The only thing I can say is just the more the merrier. I know people were talking about, well, we wouldn't have as competitive a game. Look, Tennessee, Ohio State was not a competitive game. Alabama, Indiana was not a competitive game. Was it James Madison earlier, or a couple of these, or SMU, or the past couple of years, those entry level, those first layer games?
Yeah,
there were a lot that weren't competitive. So, if you stretch it out, it's more football for me. And as a consumer of that, I'm happier. I can't speak to the players and the wear and tear on them, or extra TV money, but I'm for 24 as well.
And the thing about a 24-team playoff that's also needs to be underscored here is these athletes want to compete. I mean, invariably, there are competitors inside of them. And Watson's right. This is not going to be like we think it's going to be. It's going to be, Brian, it's going to be like Vanderbilt last year. They're making a 24-team playoff, and they're going to be right in the middle of it against somebody. It's going to be teams like last year. We could pair them up, but Brian, who would have been like in the 21 to 25 range? What kind of teams are we talking about there, Brian? Off the top of your head,
someone like Illinois.
Illinois.
Maybe.
It's a good example. Team we saw in the bowl game. Hey, listen, you got a veteran quarterback.
Yeah, even in Tennessee,
you got a little bit of a salty defense. You know, I wouldn't have want to seen them in a playoff game last year. That's dangerous. Now, in the right conditions on the right day, the way Indiana just ripped them up limb from limb, I get it. But still, you've got to go out and play the game in a one-game situation. Watson, I think the thing that 24 teams does, though, and this is my caution to college football, obviously it really hurts your regular season. It takes away a lot of your tradition. But that car is so far off the road and so far off the track right now, it's just not even funny. But the one thing that will happen is power teams that know they're already in, say Michigan and Ohio State are playing at the end of the year. If I've got a key player, a middle linebacker that's banged up, he's going to miss that game. I'm going to rest him for the playoffs. That's going to happen, Watson. You know, I kind of like Watson in this mode here. You know that, Bryce? This is my favorite Watson Brown mode that we're in. He's presented by our friends at Simpson's Meats. His absences, his pauses are way cooler. I agree with him. I want more SKUs involved in this. I love him. He's my guy. And I want to expand the tournament. I stand with Danny White on that. I love that Danny White went down, said it out loud in the caravan, didn't care about Greg Sankey. Hey, be your own man. I love that about Danny White. Be your own man. You got to be your own man. I love that. Yeah, I'm going to start calling him Wordy Watson. Let's get a brief timeout. We'll come back with more. I'm 4-24. This thing that happened today with Ted Cruz and the lady from Washington, my prediction ain't going to see the light of day. But, hey, it gets them a little link, and that's good for them. You got to dream about buying some land and building on that land. Well, Waterside Contracting is your ticket. 25 years of making dreams come true, Michael Scott, for hundreds in our area. Custom homes or remodels, Waterside Contracting will build on your lot. They do incredible work all over the area. Structural integrity, quality without compromise. It's a way of life with Waterside Contract. Check out the wonderful work Waterside does. WatersideContractingLLC.com. When it's time for your dreams to come true. Quality without compromising. Waterside Contracting. He doesn't always drink beer, but when he does, he definitely prefers Dos Equis. That's right. The most interesting man in the world has returned, and he's more interesting than ever before. His phone is addicted to him. All of his teeth, all are wisdom teeth. So raise a Dos Equis to the man, the myth, the legend. And remember, stay thirsty, my friends. Dos Equis, enjoy responsibly. 2026 Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York. Tony Basilio along with the great Mark Griffin. And we're here to talk about our friends at Performance Medicine. And Griff, their slogan, stay educated, stay healthy. That's you.
Wow. I really like to think that, Tony, and I'd like to give Dr. Rogers a lot of credit because I definitely want to stay educated and healthy, and knowing that he's putting the time and effort in to make sure of my care. I want to encourage your listeners to put the time to learn and become educated and get to know Dr. Rogers and see if it can help with your health as well.
And there's a really, really easy way to do that. In fact, they've got their own YouTube channel. You can see Dr. Rogers for himself with his staff. It's called The Performance Medicine Show over at the Performance Medicine channel over on YouTube. Also, more information at performancemedicine.net. To our friends in North Knoxville, a brand new location over in Fountain City, now accepting patients. So many ways to reach Dr. Rogers. And like they say, stay educated, stay healthy. Performance Medicine, online, performancemedicine.net.
Located in Knoxville's historic Old City, Barley's offers great food, live music, the best draft beer selection in town, and now your new favorite place to watch sports. Their indoor projector is perfect for any weather, and they've revamped their upstairs area with more TVs to take in all of the action. Their menu features hand-battered chicken tenders, juicy burgers, fresh salads, and the tastiest pizza in Knoxville. You can enjoy their happy hour drink specials daily from open until 6 p.m. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
Like our 2026 football Vols, score a T3 TD every time with T3 Vodka, Tennessee's premium vodka, handcrafted with passion, precision, and a whole lot of pride. Right here, handcrafted in the majesty of the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains. Quality around here isn't just a promise, it's a way of life. And T3's filtered 10 times, 80 proof of vodka, delivering a smoothness unmatched. This dedication to excellence has earned T3 Vodka prestigious accolades, like a 5-time gold medal award-winning vodka and your SIPS Consumer Choice Award medal winner as well. Whether you're sipping it neat, on the rocks, mixing your favorite cocktail, T3 Vodka, your choice for a premium award-winning experience. Be like Maury Hanks. Score a T3 TD. Ask for T3 Vodka by name at restaurants and wine and liquor stores today. Drink it neat, drink it right, and score a T3 TD all 2026 long. Tennessee's premium vodka, T3, Tennessee's premium vodka, distributed by Empire Distributors of Tennessee.
Big news, Basilio family. Get ready because the 2026 Knoxville real estate market is officially shifting into high gear. All signs are pointing toward a record-breaking year, and the energy across East Tennessee is absolutely electric right now. Whether you've been dreaming of finding that next home, looking to capitalize on your current equity, or ready to dive into the investment world, the timing has never been better. Having a game plan is the key to winning in this fast-paced market, and I'm ready to help. Give me a call, Jennifer Morris, at 865-694-5904, or reach out at nextmovesmokymountains.com. That's nextmovesmokymountains.com, and go Vols.
Baseball fans, it's time to step up to the plate. Look your best. Get some new Tennessee gear from Alumni Hall. Alumni Hall has the best selection. Top brands for you to choose from this season. Look, it's nice and warm outside, so get into any of their 6 air-conditioned East Tennessee locations. Shop online, download the app, grab your Tennessee baseball jersey, your hat, your decal, maybe a t-shirt, and they have so much more. Earn $10 in rewards for every $150 you spend. Go Vols and shop Alumni Hall, your ultimate Tennessee shopping destination. Touch them all with Alumni Hall. Basilio here with the great Chad Stockton of FC Alliance. And Chad, I can hear it in the background, brother. It's World Cup season, and you guys are in the middle of it. Talk to me.
We are excited. Our U9 through U12 trials just kicked off today for our locations in Knoxville and in Johnson City. So we're ready to offer any player top-level competition, top-level training anywhere they want to be in Northeast Tennessee. In our programs, we offer competitive play for anywhere from 9-year-olds to 19-year-olds. We've got 2 locations. Our location in Knoxville is kind of our home base, and our location up in Johnson City in the Tri-Cities area is our FC Alliance North. Both locations are growing tremendously, and we're excited about what the future holds here at both locations.
Growing the beautiful game in the season of the World Cup. Chad Stockton, how can folks get more information?
Go to our website, FC Alliance or FCAllianceNorth.org. And both locations, we're happy to serve the beginning player or the more experienced player, because what we will promise is the top-level training and top-level leagues that we can play in for all of our players.
Growing the beautiful game in Knoxville and now also in the Tri-Cities. FC Alliance. Thank you, Chad Stockton.
Thanks, buddy.
Out-of-town law firms have been swarming into East Tennessee lately. From Memphis, Chattanooga, and Birmingham, they've stormed into the area. Wouldn't you rather do business with a local firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marcos Garza and the pros at the Garza Law Firm are just that. There are neighbors and friends that support local causes year-round. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries and accident matters, and Social Security and disability filings. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at garzalaw.com. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
TB back with you. I want to shout out Marcos Garza, the Garza Law Firm. We're on live. Garza Law Extra Innings coming your way. I want to shout out my man Bob Baskerville and also Dubsy, who later today are going to be talking a lot and unpacking the tournament. Jack the Longchamps from D1 Baseball is going to be on their show. So the drive in the afternoon, shout out to them. I want to shout out my man William Pattison in the playbook, who's on the way next, who's going to be breaking it down. You know, he gets inside the cracks and the crevices. I'm a simpleton. You know what I mean? I'm a surface level simpleton. That's what I am. But so stay tuned for him. In the meantime, we'll do some overtime because I want to talk about what these people that are running sports are making us do. We don't know this, but they're making us choose. And a lot of us are going to choose not to look at this. We're going to talk about it. In the meantime, hit it, William.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
All right, here's what I mean by choose. You have a choice. We don't know it. Every day as sports fans now, we choose. At one time, your choice was the cable bill came and you or whoever did the bills in your household stroked the check for that. And that was it. You made your choice. And you had, as Bruce Springsteen said, 67 channels and nothing on. And that was that. I happen to be of a certain age where I distinctly remember having to have my brothers get up. We had this thing called a antenna rotor, and the antenna would get wrapped around, and they would go up on this steep, and it was way up in the air. Second story, steep roof, and risk their life with one of us outside the window screaming, no, the other way. No, the other way. Trying to pull in a game from like Baltimore or something. And so that was kind of our deal. And then cable television comes along and you're seeing all this stuff that you never thought you'd see. And it's incredible. And that was the law of the land for what? From like for most of us, from like the early 80s through to about 3 or 4 years ago. That's a good 40-year period. We had that. Those of us that are old enough. Now, you talk to people in the television industry, they'll tell you, hey, we got to figure it out just like radio has to figure it out. Sad but true, right? The radio business I grew up in no longer exists. That hurts my heart to say that. I'm totally romantic about radio. I love radio. If you said, Tony, you get one medium and you can save it and keep it, I would keep radio over television. Unfortunately, or fortunately, everything's on everybody's phones now. So the concept of having a brick and mortar radio station, boy, those signals used to be there was only so many of them. So much money. So much money. Newspapers died. What college sports is getting ready to do is a microcosm of all this, major college football. Here's what I mean. If you think when they go to market, which is the term they use, right? See, ESPN has paid for the 12-game playoff. What they're not telling you is if you went to 16 like Sankey wants to, you wouldn't get any more money out of that till 2031. Their big payday is when this deal expires. But in the meantime, if you create more inventory, you'll be able to go to market with those other games. And Watson Brown's right. Watson Brown's like, Tony, I'm in my 70s. I'll text my brother sometimes. My brother's late 60s. And I'm like, man, are you watching this? And he goes, no, dude, I'm not buying that streaming service. He's financially done very well. He goes, that's just the principle of it. He's chosen. He's made a choice. He says, I'm not buying that streaming service. So we're on a text chain, my son Anthony and him, and we go, just during text about a game, and he's not watching it. He's listening to it on the stream on his phone. They're going to make us choose, because here's what's going to happen. Sure as I'm sitting here, Brian, NBA playoffs. Stop me if I'm wrong here, Brian. NBA playoffs, you have to search to find the game. And a lot of times when you search on like linear or even like a YouTube TV or your cable system, the game just doesn't show up. And then you have to go and figure out which streaming service it's on.
Not to mention, they start way too late, and
I don't care.
They're never over before you want to go to bed.
That game last night, Bri, I conked out. Way before that game ended. But here's the thing. Hey, Cinco, you said something earlier about the playoffs, which is absolutely true. If it's on and it's on free television, we're all going to look at it. But even then, we're going to choose. Because if it looks like a kill job matchup, we're not going to feel compelled to watch it unless we're gambling on it. It's just a truth.
I had a situation the other day.
Yeah.
Where, and it's just me. I mean, people may think it's silly, but a friend of mine was at the Coca-Cola 600.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm used to being on Fox. I'm not a racing fan. I don't know anything about racing. It's got 4 tires. That's all I know. And so I wanted to converse with him because he was there having a big time. And I know that Kyle Busch died, and I thought that might be, interesting. So I asked him, hey, where is it at? Where can I watch this? It's not on my YouTube TV. I think a lot of people have YouTube TV. He goes, well, it's on Amazon Prime. Okay. So I go to Amazon Prime. I get into password hell. A password won't take this, that, and the other. And again, it's just like my Braves thing. If you're going to ask for a whole lot of effort, and that's not a whole lot of effort, but if you're going to interrupt, I'll just go do something else. Go for a bike ride, do it, or watch something else. Because it's making it difficult for the casual fan.
And that's the point.
And right now, I can't even watch the Braves. This is 3 years running that I'm actually. Well, right now I just catch the highlights the next morning.
You haven't bought that package?
I'm sorry to hear you. I'm sorry to, upset you, but I still don't watch live baseball for 3 straight years.
You haven't bought the package? They have the $99 deal?
I don't know anything about $99 deal. What's this 99? Is it for all games? Is it home games?
Yeah, you get every game. You get every game.
Market stuff.
If you got DirecTV streaming, it's channel 645.
I have YouTube TV. I have a YouTube TV.
You can get it
and
on.
I'm not changing everything.
Yeah, you can get it on your smart TV, but that's the point. Here's the point. This is going to be, and they're going to do it, a cash grab. Now they're dressing it up. I'm dressing it up, and it's more access for more teams and makes the sport better. It's not why they're doing it, okay? They're going to do the 2014 playoff because it's a cash grab, and that's all it is. And a couple people on the YouTube chat have said, and they're right, once they go to 24, they'll go to 30 whatever. They're not going to stop. The NBA came up with this convoluted idea at the end of an 82 regular game season to play what they call a play-in tournament. Brian, do you acknowledge that? Do you acknowledge the play-in tournament, Brian? You look at that?
It's just something to take a nap to for me.
Mm-hmm. When they go to 76 teams, a lot of us say we're not going to watch it. Some of us will. Some of us will. And Rodney says, and he's right, the NCAA, while all this is going on, is running ads now, asking gamblers to quit threatening student athletes. But you know what the NCAA is doing? They're taking gambling money. World we're living in. World we're living in. We're living in a world where you got to choose. And they don't care whether or not you watch. The NBA has a deal with Amazon Prime. Is that what it is, Bri? Is it Prime they're on, or is it Peacock? Or is it both? I think it's both.
It's been Amazon. I think it's been Amazon Prime.
Anyway, I thought I saw some games on Peacock, which is owned by NBC. Anywho, here's the deal. They don't care if you watch or not. That's the dirty little secret now. WWE, okay? Multi-billion-dollar deal with Netflix. Me, love wrestling. Haven't watched it in years. You know why? It's not accessible to me. I'm not going to flip that thing on. And so what they're doing is all these leagues, etc., are making us choose. But one thing they're not doing is minting new fans. See, I wonder how you mint new fans when everything's behind a paywall, or most things are behind a paywall, or you start playing championships behind a paywall. And I'm going to tell you something. You can laugh at this. There will come a day when the Super Bowl is played behind a paywall. You can laugh at that if you want. There will come a day where the national championship football game will be played behind a paywall. Would you and I ever have believed that you would have to subscribe to a streaming service to watch an NBA postseason playoff game? No. Would you have ever believed that you would have to subscribe to a streaming service to watch a particular football game? The Big Ten's doing it. And the SEC is going to do it. So get ready for it. Well, it already is doing it. With the you got to buy the ESPN package, which I have. I'm in sports. I'm a degenerate. I'm going to watch it. Okay? I'm telling on myself here, I got all those streaming services. I'm going to watch them. But you are going to have to choose. And all of us choose. But the dirty little secret is these things used to be driven by ratings and this and that. Nuh-uh. They're driven by which streaming service is going to belly up to the bar and give me the most money. Because here's what they're counting on. This is the truth now. Why would some streaming service we've never heard of charge or pay rights for Tennessee's preseason thing that they did down the baseball team? Because their calculation is you won't notice the $5 on your credit card bill. That's the whole calculation. It's not whether or not you watch it. You watch it once and over again. Over and over again. And so this thing is and they're going to at some point, you know, I don't know, run people off. Sean, do you think the Danny Whites of the world care if college football exists 40 years from now when they're not here?
Oh, I don't think it's a priority. I mean,
agree with that.
Everything is, and I don't just blame him.
No. I'm talking about the whole lot of them.
He would have thought that. I think
the whole lot of them. The whole lot of them. When you've made this thing all about commerce, which is what it's all about, they don't care about this stuff like we care about it. They don't value what we value. It's just the truth. I from a competitive standpoint, 2014 playoff makes sense to me. But they want it because they're going to farm it out to some streaming services. If you think for 5 seconds that all these games you're going to be able to get on your YouTube account, you're out of your mind. Or YouTube TV. And as some people are saying, they're saying, Tony, do you aren't you a guy that is not afraid to watch a Chinese stream? You say that? I mean, they're forcing us to do that. aren't they? Again, that's
This
a choice.
in some way, it's going back to where you had to get some kind of pay-per-view package years ago.
That's exactly what it is, Brian.
Because Tennessee would always have 3 or 4 games a year where you had to pay extra for it.
Video, seat, pay, review. It'll never be forgotten by the living fan. You had to go down. Kids, listen up. This is true. You had to go down to the cable company, and they gave you a box that you used all to watch one game, a blowout game. You went to they gave you a special box. You hooked it up. You watched the game. Now, I had a special box in the late 1990s that I got from a friend of mine who was selling them out of the back of his car that would give you all the channels and every pay-per-view. And one night I was watching a concert and they were doing a giveaway and I was getting ready to call the number and Laura goes, "What are you doing?" And I said, I want to win that. I want to win that. Look at that thing. It's like an autographed guitar. She said, "Dummy, we're watching this through a whatever you want to call the stream, a descrambler." Go to the phones. Here's the thing. These people with this playoff are telling you it's about access, and really what they're going to do is they're going to put this thing on several streaming services. And some of us that love college football, set our watches by it, are not going to watch some of these games because we're going to make a choice. That's all. That's all. Let's go to the phones. Get as many people in here as humanly possible. Vol Shalom says, "I get all the games with the pirate flag." Hey. Nobody blames you in this day and age. I mean, is it right to do that? Not really. Are we intercepting something, stealing it, if you will? Probably, yes. But there's a lot of people like Sean with this Major League Baseball thing and what happened in the last 5 years and how silly it got with their blackout rules, where they forced you into that. If you wanted to watch your team, you had to go, over to, I don't know, Stream East, I guess, is folded up, but it's really not. I found a mirror site where a bunch of those, I don't know how this works, but a bunch of them are still there. Marquee Streams. What do you use, Bri?
Well, just for those who don't know, on DirecTV streaming,
yep.
The Braves channel, they have their own channel. It's channel 645. And every game, if it's not televised by one of the major networks, can be found there.
Jeff Harrison sounds like a fun guy. He gets all his games through his neighbor's window, Sean. They've got a big screen. And he said he goes out front and watches. Boy, you'd be a lot of fun.
I bet that's not the only thing he's watching in his neighbor's window.
Let's go back to the He probably knows everybody's schedule, too, if you know what I mean. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air. Hola. Brian, am I being led to believe we're having phone difficulty here? Is that what you think, Bri? It worked for Kendall Rogers. It worked for Mike Monaco.
It halfway worked for Watson.
It halfway worked for Watson. Let's see here. Hi, welcome in. You're on the air.
I got you, John.
Hit it.
Everybody says they don't make a choice, but they keep buying the stuff in these ratings.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I never thought my brother would not watch, but my brother said, I'm not subscribing to that, man.
It is kind of ridiculous.
Because Paramount. The UFC's on Paramount. Did you go over there and get the subscription?
Yeah, I bought it just for UFC.
There you go. And that's what they were counting on.
Yep. I bought it just for UFC.
And do you watch it?
Open up that app.
That's the only time you watch it?
It's the only time I ever open up the app is on Saturday nights when the UFC's on. No question. But I just, until people start making real difficult choices
Yep.
and stop paying prices, they're going to keep doing it.
Lee, do you buy my logic that they're going to put these playoff games on these apps? Because that's exactly what they're going to do.
Sure. Of course they will.
Yeah.
I mean, whoever's
don't
got
care.
the rights, they're going to sell them out to the highest bidder, and if that's an app, they're going to sell it to an app. Yeah, no, without a doubt. And I'm sure I'll pay for them. Well, one interesting thing is, like, almost all these traditional sports books, if you have a bet on a game, they'll let you watch it. You can usually stream most anything. I don't know if you're I know the French Open tennis is going on right now. If you got a bet on a match, then you can open it up and stream it.
So great. It's so great, man.
Yeah. And there's no delay either. Like, it's you actually get it ahead of time. Like, it's all in real time too. So, but that's just a couple things with the expansion of the playoff.
Yep.
It obviously devalues like a lot of the regular season, especially more the games towards the end of the year with, I guess, rivalry weeks. What would you consider moving like the whole rivalry weekend, these rivalry games up towards the beginning of the year? I mean, if Michigan, Ohio State, like loses its value at last week of the season, if both teams know they're in the tournament or whatever, wouldn't it be better to play that game like the first month of the season?
It's interesting. I wonder now, too, to your point, with the amount of money that's going to be involved in this next TV deal, if they do that anyway, just to space the games out. But you got a great point, because you and I are singing off the same hymn book, because both those teams are going to, if you go to 2014 playoff, they're going to sit players if you're already in the playoffs. Yeah. Yes. Because that's what they do in the NFL, by the way. That's what happens in the NFL. We all know that.
And sort of along those same lines when it comes to like college baseball, I mean, it seems pretty clear that with what Arkansas's run to the championship game meant really nothing with their seeding. Mississippi State ended up benefiting from going out early. Like, why wouldn't you play that tournament? I hate to draw from the NBA because it's not my sport. I think it's kind of ridiculous, but why wouldn't you play the SEC tournament either beginning of the year or in the middle of the season?
Brian, what do you think of that?
It almost gives it more value.
Brian, why wouldn't you play that thing earlier, the SEC tournament or a tournament like that?
I guess they want to sort of make it a penultimate event before the real stuff begins and sort of build it up through the season. That's probably why they haven't really considered that. I've never really thought about that.
No, I haven't even considered that.
They could do that for basketball in a way.
It's a good idea, like a mid-season celebration of the sport, and the games all count, and there's a real incentive to go and play and to bang it out, you know?
Exactly. I mean, we complain about the SEC basketball tournament and those games not meaning anything. So what if you played it in the middle of the season? It would probably be more of an event. I think those games would probably matter more, it seems like. But
you know, there's an opinion out there, Lee, that some of these games, if you go to 24 teams, will still matter because you're playing for seeding. See, I think most teams that are at the very tippy top are more worried about, it's just like in the NFL. You're more worried about the health of your team and protecting players at the end than you are winning another game. My Eagles did that this year. Now, it didn't work out for them, but they rested a bunch of guys instead of trying to improve their seeding. It's just what they do in the NFL. That's a dangerous sport, man. And you could lose a player at any point in time. And it's almost like you're risking fate if you're playing somebody that's banged up and it's a Michigan-Ohio State game when you professionalize it, which is what they've done.
Yeah, expanding the playoff, it will create more meaningful games with more teams for sure towards the end of the season. No question. Games that normally wouldn't mean much will certainly mean more. That's for sure. But yeah, games like Michigan and Ohio State have the potential to not really mean a whole lot at all. But I just think me as a fan, I'm for more better games always. However, you got to get me to that point.
Sure.
Just give me more better games.
That's what Sean was saying. We all win. But here's the thing. A lot of us are going to be in a spot where this kill game's going on over here, like 1 versus 24 or whatever, 2 versus 23. One of those games is on some streaming service, and we're not going to look at it. That's going to happen.
That's where point spreads come into it. That's the only thing that's going to make it interesting.
Exactly right.
Go out the game.
That's exactly right. You're exactly right. Appreciate you, my brother. Always good to hear from you.
All right.
Yeah, thanks,
See you,
man.
boys.
Yeah, and Sean, that's just the truth. The people that have action on it are going to look at it. And what about this Sorsby guy, Sean? I like the Sorsby guy. His family lives here locally. I'm not coming down on them. The guy wants to play college football. He's going to end up going into the supplemental draft. I think Cleveland Browns are going to take him when he does. Would be my guess. But the Sorsby guy, Sean, basically admitted, "Hey, look, I'm a degenerate gambler. That's why I did what I did. I'm not going to lie. I want back in." And the NCAA said no.
I think it'll be interesting to follow that because I have sympathy for the young man. I'm not buying, frankly, the whole, I've got a mental condition, now let me play again because I want to make big money.
Right.
You could, I am sympathetic to anybody with an addiction.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly only by the grace of God do I not have something like that. Although you could probably argue that I have an addiction to buying guitars and guilty as charged, but nonetheless, so let's say he gets there. What's the next one? Why couldn't someone say, well, hey, you know what? I've got an addiction to taking Coleman, the sprinter for us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying he does, but someone in that situation where he's been banned multiple times for PEDs. I believe that's correct.
Yeah.
Well, why couldn't a player just say, I've got a mental condition about taking PEDs. I should keep staying that. And
I'm addicted to them.
The only difference is with a guy with PEDs. I'm sure you're changing the outcome, but when someone has a betting problem, I question whether you're like point shaving or, is your addiction bigger than your competitiveness to win? And I just don't know that whole thing, I know nothing about addiction, but from what I understand, people are addicts or alcoholics for their whole life and they're all in recovery. That's a very surface level. So if this kind of addiction, would he change a game so it's very, very word salady, as I've been accused on that board for, but it's kind of just freeform thinking.
All word salady, man. I mean, look, here's the thing, though. You bring up a great point.
But how do you trust that young man still not gambling or still not throwing games? I let you back.
And then he says, well, I never bet on a game I played in. Okay, that's fine. Can I believe that? I mean, I don't know. No. Can I? No, I don't. I don't believe that. You're going to tell me
believe that.
You're going to tell me this guy bet on tiddlywinks and how many raindrops would fall over here and made thousands of bets. And he bet on games that his team was involved in when he was on the bench over at Indiana, when he was a backup quarterback or whatever. But when he was a Cincinnati,
how could you?
I don't believe
that. How could you say that he didn't have a friend put a bet on a game that he didn't?
Yeah, I don't believe that.
He was wise enough to know that you can't do that. That's more egregious.
Here's the rule, and it has to be the rule. If you're a college athlete, okay, and you gamble, and I catch you, and you're gambling on your sport, you're gone. And we don't ask questions. It has to be that way. People could say, well, the legalized gambling thing, the one thing I do like about it is we catch this stuff. I'll ask Sean, I'll ask you, I'll ask anybody listen to me. It's been around it. If you don't think back in the day people were gambling on college campuses, you got another thing coming. And if you don't think that people who wanted to know who the bookie was, now more people now are doing it than ever before. No question that's true. But all I had to do back in the day was find somebody on one of these teams that had a predilection to gamble. That's all I had to do. And it was just a matter of time till I got you jammed up, till I could compromise you. And if you don't think that that's gone on down through time in these sports we watch, we know of a few of the cases, the Boston College one and a few of these other schools where this has kind of come to light now. And, the guy in Alabama got caught. And you don't think there are other people out there doing that in these sports? If you don't think that, you're extremely naive. Because let me tell you something about human nature. It's human nature. Which is to say, I have this in my hand, okay, but I want that. And I'm going to do what I have to do to get that, by the way. And human nature. You tell me I can't have that. That's the very thing I want over there. It's just the way it is. So let's go to the phone.
Tony, I saw real quick. I saw a thing. I don't know if anybody knows Michael Francis.
Michael Francis. Yeah.
If I'm mispronouncing, I'm sorry. He's Italian. I'm sorry if I mispronounce it. But anyway,
one-time mob guy.
He's turned the corner. Now he's big proponent for Jesus. Mm-hmm. And he was talking about how getting kids jammed up or getting referees or something affecting sports was absolutely low-hanging fruit for the mob. Yep. He said that was the easiest thing in the world to do. And they could, because it doesn't take much to get someone hooked. And he said they looked for every opportunity. I have a hard time believing anything has changed now.
The other thing that goes on when it comes to this, when you talk about gambling in sports, and it's always been this way, and Sean will tell you this. People that make odds have to have information. They have to have it, okay? Where are you going to get your information? How do I know if a player plays or not? If you don't think that there are people inside football programs, professional sports teams, sharing with people that want that information and making money off that information, you got another thing coming, okay? It's truth. I want you to think about that for a second. These people that set these lines, and it only takes one to cooperate. And you know what? Who you hurting? I'm letting the guy know that's making the line. He sends me, he wires me some money in an account somewhere. Nobody knows about it. Not hurting anybody. If you don't think that stuff goes on, come on now. The Sorsby guy, his only play was to do what he did. Come out as soon as you know that thing is breaking, as soon as you know you're being investigated, throw your hands in the air, say, hey, I'm an addict. Let me back in. Fall on the mercy of the court. The NCAA did what I thought they were going to do. They can't play with him. You just can't. You can't have him in your sport, man. Hey, listen, I'm a forgive and forget guy all day long, but forgiving and forgetting doesn't mean you don't have consequences for what you've done. It's two different conversations. And I'm not judging the guy. Let me tell you something. Any of us are capable of what that kid did. Any of us. But at the end of the day, and that's why, Mike Vrabel, that's why he should be gone. Mike Vrabel conspired with this woman to shake players loose. When you look at her reporting and what happened there, that's no integrity. That's just not right. Mike Vrabel should never coach again, in my opinion. Sorry. Now, do I think he's the only one that used a relationship with one of those people to move the pieces around in order to pick up somebody and devalue them in their current market in that league or any of these leagues to do that? No. But let's go to the phones. The 2014 playoff though is a good idea, I think. I don't know why I think that. I just think it's a good idea. I think I think if you're going to make this a playoff sport, make it a playoff sport. Rip the Band-Aid off. And Matt Dixon's right. The minute they went to any kind of playoff, that was it for college football. It's over. We call it college football. It's really unprofessional football. That's what it is now. Hello and welcome in. I still love it. Hey, we're going to be on here in the Garza Law, fifth quarter fan reaction, sweating these games after games. I hope it's, I hope it's a great season. I don't know how great it's going to be here, but I hope the Vols can do more than I think they're going to do, and I'm for it, not against it. And I still love the games, but man, all this shit around it, you got to be kidding me. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air. Brian, are you telling me that line's not working now? Are you telling me it wasn't? You telling me, Brian, that it wasn't Watson, it was us? God, Watson deserves an apology. All right, let's try another call here. Hi, welcome in. You're on the air. Brian, are you telling me? Let's get another call in. Hi, welcome in. You're on the air. Hello, go right ahead. Hi. J-No Muppet. Thanks for the call. Brian, are you telling me that these phone lines are not working? Is that what you're telling me after all this time? That's incredible.
Time to hang it up, Tony B.
I mean, Sean Sinclair, DDS, beautiful Maryville. Are you next level or what, dude?
Oh, I'm not. I'm trying to get, dude, let me tell you what.
Yeah.
When you come to the program with this little talent.
No, you're excellent. Don't belittle yourself.
You got to make it shine somehow. So I'm still trying to find that way, but hey, let me tell you this. If phones aren't working, Tony B, I'm looking outside. I'm seeing big puffy clouds. I'm seeing blue thing. The park is calling you with an acoustic.
Boom!
I say you go do your thing.
Is it hot outside today, or what is it like?
No, it's nice. It's nice. A little humid.
Yeah. Jinx Jones says sports betting's been around forever. It gets unfairly blamed for a lot of things nowadays because it's become legal. But there is a dark underbelly in that industry. It gets ignored. That's right. I try to approach everything in my life looking at both sides of things, which is why politically I'm hard to figure out because I look at both sides of things. And the gambling, the legalized gambling thing, there are very good aspects of it. No. There are, after the show. There are aspects of it though. Do I think that the gambling thing, we're going to look up and have an epidemic of people? Yeah, let's reset them. Yeah, that's a good idea, sweetie. All right, Laura's going to come in here. We're going to reset the phone. So I need some of you to be guinea pigs. Those are the 3 calls that are on hold right now. She's going to detonate you. She's going to stick a pin in this device, and she's going to say, well, let's just do this. We'll do it in real time. We can watch along at home, ladies and gentlemen. How about that? Ready? Caller 1, you're out of here. What would Joe Paterno say, Bri, when he was on with us and he said something? Somebody asked him a question.
He was never on. He just said during the locker room, the cameraman was camera
Get
before they were about to run out onto the field before a game. He just said, "Get out of here!
Get out of here!" It was like a press. It was a press conference.
Get out of here! He had that little crooked finger pointed toward the door.
So y'all are gone. Everybody's gone. Now I'll tell you when it resets. We got to figure out if this is a provider issue, if it's an us issue. You're going to help us troubleshoot. But I'm with you, Sean, with the thing with the Sorsby guy. Personal responsibility. I know that's not in vogue today to take responsibility for things. That kid's responsible for what he did. And as somebody responsible for what you did, being of sound mind, which he's of sound mind, he does not get to play college football again. It's a privilege, not a right.
No, and I think and I hate it for Tech because we could have been in this situation. We kind of are in a lesser extent with Chaz Coleman. Totally different betting addiction, homesick, whatever young Mr. Coleman's issue is. I hope I'm not trying to compare it to an addiction or anything like that. So don't get me wrong there. I'm making the comparison of a high valued, high invested player that we're counting on may not be here. So you've been skeptical that Texas Tech will just go out and raid someone else and then just take it to court. I hope they don't get to, because you know darn good and well we're not going to be able to do that. Danny White's he's not going to let us go raid somebody for a defensive end.
Well, that's true. That's true. He's
and everyone's just talking. Well, they'll just throw enough money at a local judge, and and again, I'm not here to rip our local judge that didn't give.
If ever there was going to be one, Sean, that got religion, it would be our guy.
I thought that was absurd anyway.
Yeah.
But come on,
we're the only people that didn't win a case. We're the only people. Yeah,
exactly.
Only here. And Sean told me during a break,
the Chambliss kid on Ole Miss he's going to graduate and start getting Social Security.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
He has zero business playing there. Yeah. Other than they wanted to keep the gravy train coming. I'll tell you this guy this coach I have down there, I think he's half moronic. But I give this guy credit. He's got people shooting at him. That must mean he matters. That's like I always tell people when people shoot at us. Pete Golding. When coaches are shooting at you and ripping your school, that means you matter. It means you're a threat. When we get ripped or blasted, I love that. I'm for that, not against that. It means you matter.
I didn't think that whole thing he pulled with Clemson was cool either.
No.
And I'm believe me, I am not in the Dabo Swinney column. But I thought that was low rent.
All right, let's go to the phones. Get as many people in here as humanly possible. Hi, welcome in. You're on the air.
Lemongrass, Cinco.
There you go. Hi, welcome in. You're on the air.
Tony B, Blake from chat.
Hey, Blake, welcome in, my friend.
How are you doing today?
Brother, it's a blessed day to be alive and well. I hope you guys are enjoying some sunshine in Chattanooga, which is the town that gave me my lovely bride.
It's been raining a lot here off and on.
Damn it.
But wanted to talk about that 2014 playoff thing a little bit. And
sure.
I have mixed feelings about it, to be honest. I don't know. I want to see the regular season still have value, and I'm not sure how much value it's going to have if they continue to water this thing down, especially once you get to where it's like 8-4 teams are going to make it. You're going to see some 7-5 teams make it, and it's like, does 7-5 deserve to get celebrated like that?
No, but that's what's going to happen. But the coaches are still going to get fired. I saw one of the coaches at the SEC thing say, I'd like a 40-team playoff so we can all stay employed. One of the SEC coaches said, I got news for them. Just because you make a 24-team playoff doesn't mean you won't get fired that offseason. Because you're still going to get fired.
And like a lot of Tennessee fans, some of my friends have been telling me, it's like, hey, this is going to help us. I'm like, wouldn't have helped us last year and probably won't help us this year if things go the way people are saying it's going to go. I don't think it's going to make us look bad if we're not careful.
Well, there's zero doubt about that. Now, if you're in a 2014 playoff format and you're the Tennessee head football coach and you don't make it for 2 consecutive years, you're going to go. You're going to walk the plank. That's another good point.
Yeah. And I'd hate to see that happen because I think Heupel can get it done here. I just think we've not been able to put it all together. Like sometimes we have elite defenses and the offense isn't there. And sometimes the offense is there and we got a defense that ain't worth crap. And which, I mean, a lot of that's on him. I mean, it's your decision to get the guys. And this year, a lot of people are feeling sorry for him. It's like, hey, you allowed Lane Kiffin to come in here and get the guy you wanted. You got to pony up and match that guy and tell Kiffin to get lost.
Sean, do you agree with that? If you really wanted that quarterback, we should have matched it and told him to get off our tarmac. You agree with this, gentleman? Cinco?
Well, I mean,
that
I don't know what you can do. I don't know what you can do there.
That
but
didn't have a good look to it.
It looked like who wanted it more.
That's right. It does not have a good look.
I don't remember Josh Heupel flying down to Baton Rouge.
No, it does not have a good look to it. Now, you're the one that said that. You bring that up. Now I think about it. I didn't want the kid personally, so I'm kind of glad they didn't get him. I find that guy kind of unserious. But that feels almost unserious, doesn't it, to let somebody come in on a tarmac and take a kid you just made an offer to and basically cuck you? I mean, they're coming onto your territory. That's, walking into your house, basically.
And the way Rick Barnes was moving this year, there wasn't a coach that was going to do that to Rick Barnes.
No. If they had a guy come out to the tarmac, I think Barnes would have met the guy right out there at Tack Air and kicked him right in his jimmy.
Well, you know what? I think
Rick Barnes was moving with a purpose this year, and I think
this is the issue that this is an issue a lot of people are saying with our head coach. How bad do you want it?
Yeah.
That's what my friend Chattanooga is saying.
I think it's a legitimate question. A year ago, with the transfer portal, they hit some transfer portal this year. They certainly did, and I'm glad. He did the strength and conditioning, got the best guy in the world.
Very good.
One of the best. I get it. Mm-hmm. But still, I think there's an overwhelming concern. I don't have anybody coming into my office that thinks we're going to the playoffs this year. I've not met anybody.
He badly wants to call plays. That's how bad he wants it.
Well, I think you're right. And I think one day he'll be the offensive coordinator making $3-4 million at somewhere like Ohio State. A la Chip Kelly.
I mean, letting that guy come onto your tarmac, I haven't even thought about it to my friend in Chattanooga until you said it that way. That's a bad look, man, for your program. That looks like you're in the same league, but you're not on the same plane as LSU. You're in the same league, but you're not in the same plane.
Yeah. And it's like, hey, I mean, good for Lane Kiffin. He went out there and did what he had to do for a guy that he wanted.
Yeah.
And Kiffin had the balls to go do that.
Yeah.
Congrats to him. Our guy just didn't want to match it. Which, hey, maybe it was a good decision to not let Levitt come here and not match that. I just think it just sets the stage for the next school to come do it next year if we're going after somebody. Is the only problem I have with it. It's just like, oh, hey, we can push them around and go get players that are about to go there.
I mean, that's a very accurate statement by you. You give Tennessee football a push and a shove, and they're not going to fight you for players. That's
it's just like
it's a weird.
It doesn't work referees for better call for.
That's exactly Brian. It's another good point. You got to fight for yourself,
he's thinking about
man.
the next offensive play call.
Yeah,
you got to fight for yourself.
Gets victimized by.
You got to fight for your team, man.
Hey, let me jump in. Let me jump in real quick because this is pertinent here. It's just from Pete Nakos. Just has a story 13 minutes ago, and it was apparently talking to Josh Heupel, and it says sources tell On3 that Coleman has yet to report to Knoxville.
Oh boy!
Voluntary workouts begin earlier this week. Quote: Chaz has been dealing with some things, and we're here to support him. Tennessee head coach Josh Heupel told On3 on Wednesday at SEC spring meetings. We'll continue to go through that process.
That's a weird situation, too.
So forgive me, caller, for jumping in, but I thought that was kind of interesting.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Because I wanted to kind of touch on that, too, just because, I don't know, I heard that it was just like, I could be wrong here. I may have heard wrong, but I heard a lot of it may have had to do with being homesick. And if those rumors are true, I would have an issue with that. But if you're really going through something serious, I hope everything works out for him, and I hope he's ready to play when it's time to play.
Amen to that. One thing I'll never do.
If it's just a homesick thing, it's like we just shelled out a lot of money for that kid.
As a depression
Just trying to
anxiety
play ball.
sufferer, well, I'm a depression anxiety sufferer through my life. It's just kind of my makeup. But the thing is, and different people we're just kind of made differently. It's just different people are affected by different stimuli, however you want to put it. But here's the thing. I never make light of a situation like that because we truly don't know. However, again, I'm back to this. Your actions have consequences. This is a guy that kind of disappeared for a couple of weeks in the spring, and they were wondering what's going on with him. And if you let this guy get away with this, and you give that kind of quote to the press, and other people on the team know that that's not what he's going. Now, it's one thing if that's what he's going through, right? We agree, Chattanooga. But if the kids on the team, don't believe that, they're going to look at that head coach and go, "This is 2 years in a row. This guy's letting somebody play him."
Yeah,
While we're coming to
Boo Carter pushed him around all off season and came in and was very mediocre for us last year.
Yep.
In my opinion.
Yep.
But
so I appreciate you.
I just don't want to see Tennessee football getting pushed around by other people and our own players.
I think that's a fair thing to say. Boo Carter pushed him around last summer. That's why I was in favor of, when Nico's family did what they did, I was in favor of pushing back. But I would have done it in December when I could have gotten a quarterback. See, that's what I'm back to with Heupel. A lot of head coaches, if they'd have found out that their quarterback behind their back was negotiating with other teams in the league when they already had a deal with him and dealt with him in good faith, would have called him in and said, "Get your coat, your brim, and get the hell out of my gym." And they would have gotten into the transfer portal and gotten an upgrade just to show the family that, hey, we can do this. F you. We're bigger than this. We're bigger than you. And look, Josh Heupel's just not going to be that guy. He's just not.
I don't want
he's
to
not
just
like that.
Cast Heupel aside because he is 500 against Florida and Alabama and has not lost to either at home.
He's a very fine coach, Bry. He's very fine.
He deserves more benefit of the doubt.
Sure, he's a fine coach. But like that caller in Chattanooga said, I haven't really considered it. That is a bad look to let somebody come into your airport hangar and take a player from you. But the thing about, and Watson said it earlier, if you listen to Watson, it's very wise. Coaches can say all they want to the press, but you know who really knows at the end of the day? Players. The players really know, Sean. That's a great way of putting it, right? It's kind of like kids. Kids know. Parents out there, you think you're hiding something from your kids? Know. Kids know. You can't fool kids.
It's not only known, it's talked about in the locker rooms. It's talked about back in the day in the dorms. It's talked about in the apartment complexes wherever the players are living. Mm-hmm. And it's not only that, those competitors, it's told right to their face. Absolutely. If you're not producing, someone's going to call you out in the weight room.
Full disclosure.
Someone's going to call you out. I mean, it is. That's just the way. Hey,
sure.
It is. Look, a locker room. And I was no great. I wasn't even an average athlete. Yeah. I didn't play at Tennessee. I was on the outside looking in, but I saw a lot. And I was able to kind of hide in obscurity there, but take in everything. Players are brutal, man. Will Overstreet said, I could tell you 5-star or 2-star who could play within the first hour of the first practice.
Full disclosure, till Sean said something about this situation, I had no idea. I blocked Negative in here earlier because he made a comment about Coleman. I had no idea this was brewing. So if people think I'm like piling on this thing right now, I'm just telling you that as a head coach, man, a lot of times the way you handle these situations, these are akin to those 3 or 4 plays that get you beat on a Saturday or win you a game on Saturday. Those game management and program management is really important at that level. It's really important. And I really believe that. And this guy here, falls short at times. Everybody does, but that thing with Boo Carter last year, people were mad at me for making that video, and you're doing this. And Boo Carter was a total distraction, a divisive. And you know who let him become a divisive distraction? The head coach. You can't do that. And this guy here, I don't know what the story is. I'm going to dig into it. I'm going to tell you what I know. Once I figure out and get a decent picture of what this is, and just like we wrote on the blog in real time, and people got mad at me, and guess what? It was all true. It was all true. Now, here's one thing I won't do. If it's like a some type of thing, and he's really going through like anxiety, depression, he's going to tell you that story. But if it's a deal that, he's really going through something, I'll write, hey, he's really got some things he's trying to work through. But that's not what happened in the spring, unfortunately for him. It's just not. So we'll go back to the phones.
Well, I'll say this before you end the program today. That I want to be on record as saying that Josh Heupel may not be cutthroat, but I'll take him over, and I want him to succeed badly. I do believe he's a very good human. I do believe he's a very good coach. I do believe he treats kids, from what I've heard, like I'd want my kids to be treated.
Yeah.
Unlike other coaches we've had around here. And I know the comparison is with the recent thing with LSU and Lane Kiffin and all that. I'll take Josh Heupel over that punk and clown any day. The whole ESPN charm offensive to get him out of Oxford, the whole hot yoga, standing under a crucifix, all of that was absolutely whitewashed for me as soon as 1 hour after he took the LSU job.
Nick Jackson said, you ever thought that Heupel gave LSU a grenade? You ever thought about that? Is Levitt even walking yet? Nick, I didn't want Levitt. But the caller from Chattanooga is entitled to his, I think, accurate opinion, which is it does not look good. And Nick, I know you're one of Heupel's cut men, and that's cool. We need people like you. No question. And Nick, this thing here with this guy from Ohio, this isn't good, man. It's just not. It's a whole.
Well, I will say this to Nick that there are great concerns over at UT about our quarterback situation.
Oh, there's no question that's true.
Great concerns, and there are many people that are regretting the way we went about things.
Yeah, if
you can believe it or not,
they have a funny way of falling on a grenade, or whatever way you put that, planting a grenade on something. That might be the grenade that goes off on them. Because for them to not, well, I'm not going to start it. At the end of the show. Hi, you're on the air.
Tony V in the Vegas.
Hey, welcome in, brother.
Been a minute since I talked to you. I wanted to call in today because I'm 100% in agreement with you on there's redemption and forgiveness for everything. But when you bet on your own sport, you can't be allowed to play it anymore.
Nope. It's called We've Crossed a Line. And I'm rooting for the kid, man.
Yep.
We've crossed a line.
Maybe you can do a podcast and bet on odds for, Indiana women's soccer or something. But you can't play football.
No, and it's pretty spelled out in the NCAA's bylaws. It's kind of like the whole Pete Rose thing. People are like, well, he belongs in the Hall of Fame. I'm like, well, actually, no, he didn't. Yeah, he didn't deserve to get reinstated. I mean, it says don't bet on baseball. It's like the one thing you can't do, Pete Rose. The one thing. That's all. We have one rule, buddy.
Hey, Tony, he could have bet on Indiana basketball. He could have bet on Indiana women's soccer.
Anything.
Just not football.
Yeah, it's not that hard. And then
it ain't that hard. And look how much money the dumbass lost for doing it.
$5 million this year, plus I don't know how it's going to work out, because he's going to end up in the NFL supplemental draft, and I predict the Cleveland Browns take him because Jimmy Haslam has the wayward house, the halfway house, the halfway house of the NFL. Will go up there and learn under the watchful eye of Deshaun Watson and Deion Sanders' son. That's a serious organization, ladies and gentlemen. That's a serious organization. And by the way, one of their first round picks, Vinny Vegas the other night, won an MMA fight. Did you see the clips of Johnny Manziel fighting some guy in literally like a human cockfight the other night down in Biloxi, Mississippi or somewhere?
No, I didn't see that. I'm only wondering if Jimmy Haslam is in charge of our quarterback situation, Tony.
Interesting. He does a nice job. I know that. I'll tell you what.
Hey, listen, the greatest coach that we have on campus is going to go to his 4th Street Elite Eight, in my opinion.
Yes, he is. That guy
I think he's got a shot. I think he's got a shot at the Final Four because he finally has figured out you got to put the ball in the hole, and you can coach defense, not the other way around.
That whole concept of you can't teach an old dog new tricks, they never saw Rick Barnes, did they?
No, sir, they didn't. I was the one telling you last year when you were laughing at me that we were going to the Elite Eight.
I never would have dreamed that was possible.
Now, on the way out of here, I do have one question for you. What do you think? What do you think works with more efficiency and better? The United States Postal Service, Anna Nicole's Love Life, or your telephone system?
Thank you, my man. I'd say all three are tied. I love the Postal Service, though. Those are my heroes. Those are good people, man. In the rain, the sleet, and the snow, they get it there every day. We don't appreciate them enough. Cinco and Bry, thank you. He's SEA and Sinclair, DDS, beautiful Maryville tomorrow. Matt Diskin, Brian, and myself. We'll have a Lady Vol watch party. What time does Lady Vol start tomorrow, Bry?
2:30.
Oh, well, no Lady Vol watch party. That's canceled.
We will have the VCU play-by-play guy.
Brian Hartman doing work. The VCU boys will put some pressure on you. They'll play the small ball. They put the pressure on you. They put the pressure on you.
And by the way, if you're betting on Indiana women's soccer, there's probably not enough help out there for you. Just saying.
That poor kid, man, he made bets on everything. But never when his team played, like Sean said. You're going to tell me you made thousands and thousands of bets, but never when your team played. And I'm not picking on that kid, but I mean, come on. Go. Music City Sam says he's going to bet on Faison to win the Heisman in Sorsby's honor. That's a great line. I'm kind of jealous. That's a great line. We love you. We appreciate you. Some of you, I mean, this Julie Herman's roast beef character, you talk about a foot-long / 11-inch sandwich that continues to just grow and continues to give. Titans Bill, you sharing the saga of Julie Herman's roast beef, which will now live in infamy. John Adams and myself were laughing so hard at that yesterday. Kiffin Brett Lexus says we're being too soft on Coleman. I don't know the situation. I'm going to find the situation out. I'm going to get a pretty decent picture of the situation by tonight. I'm not going to comment on something that, admittedly, when I came on the air today, I didn't know about. I did know that, keeping the wheels on him is going to be an interesting endeavor through the offseason. Josh Heupel, who never says anything to the press, saying something publicly about it is, I'm a pretty bright guy, okay? And I have a decent level of perception. That's not a good sign. Him saying something publicly about that is not. It's kind of like what Cinco said that was said earlier with Austin Price, you're better off betting on raindrops back to gambling than you are whether or not that kid shows up on your campus again. I would have no idea. Isn't that crazy? That's where we are. These guys hold all the cards. We were in a system where friends of mine would go to UT and to the coaches and say, "Yeah, I'm thinking about transferring." And back then, coaches would say, "Really? I'm going to make your life totally miserable." Like basically, I'm just going to. No, you're not. We've gone from that, okay, under the old system, to now. Nico, you've paid me. You've made me a multimillionaire. I'm really not very good. That year, he wasn't very good. And I'm going to hold you up for more money because I can. I mean, what the hell are we doing here? Love you. Appreciate you. Thanks. Spread the word, Thunderbird. Hit the like button for us if you're over on YouTube. Be blessed. Peace. GBO. And Sorsby kid, man, I hope he finds an answer in his life. Appreciate you. Good program today. In August, when he looks up and realizes that he's coaching a team that's tracking for like 100 losses.
Yeah, they're going to be like 32 games behind the Dodgers.
Yes. I mean, does that strike
Meanwhile,
you? Does that still? The Vols better find their thrill on Chapel Thrill. Tony Vols has chimed in on this Tennessee baseball team and where they are. We'll get to those comments. Gotta love me some Tony Vols. And Watson Brown. Next hour, we visit with Watson Brown in our second hour on what's going on with this whole 24-team scuttlebutt, where it's all going, how it's moving, how quickly it's moving to where it's moving, and where and how it's moving. Got it? Good. Because that's our show today. And we've got a lot to talk about, and we're pretty excited. And Brian Hartman's here, and Cinco's here. And do you guys have, with all due respect to Bobby Knight, do you guys have your game faces on today? Who's got their game face on today? Cinco, do you have your game face on today?
Tony, I wish I had a game face because it'd be a lot better than the one I got on right now.
Well,
no, but I'm looking for one.
Well, the great Kendall Rogers is finna join us. Gentleman from his site had an incredible thing, which is that just because you're hosting this round